Welcome back to the race shop. Hey guys, welcome back to my Cool Kids Club. This idea, this podcast, I had a number of years ago, even though we've only been doing it for 6 or 8 months or whatever it is. But the idea I've had for a long time. So I had made a couple phone calls then to see, what do you think of this? Is this worth pursuing or not? And here we are now, all those years later, and I have the privilege of one of the best guests I've ever had and probably ever will have, and I'm thrilled. So my name is Gregg. I'm your host. I'm the guy with the face for radio and the voice for silent movies. That's me. And today I have the privilege of having as my guest the legend, the rock star, and the Hall of Famer, Jerry DARIEN. And I am elated that you're here. This is so cool, Jerry. Thank you for being here.
I'm thinking this is going to be my pleasure, but I'm not sure yet.
Jerry's still out. That's okay. That's all right. So I had to. Jerry's not the most social media savvy guy I've ever met. He's old school. He defines old school. The folks who keep old school going call him to figure out what it should be. It's amazing some of the stuff you do. It's going to be some funny stories. But Jerry was one of the ones I called first, say, what do you think? It's kind of a crazy idea. But we've got so darn many stories, and I was explaining, it's not just stats and numbers. You guys can get that crap online. What you can't get are the hours and hours and hours and hours of stories and things we've done and crazy things we've gotten away with and oh my God stories. That's the stuff. That's the stuff I want to get into and invite you all in to a part of my life, part of his life that we've been experiencing for decades now, and it's just awesome. So I'm just thrilled to have you here. Jerry has been a driver trainer to the stars for a very long time. And so I put together a little list here of folks who've driven for Jerry. And I'll tell you, there's a reason, and I'm going to get to that when we get to the JFR world, because I know just a little bit about that because I was around those days. But let me throw this up. Oh, by the way, if you don't already know, we're recording this on the Monday after President Trump, to be, I trust, was almost assassinated. And so that's kind of touched us all. And I just think that picture is amazing and speaks volumes, but we're not supposed to be here talking about politics, but it sure impacts all we do.
When I grow up, I want to be as tough as he is.
It's amazing. He's put up with so much crap that would destroy any mere mortal.
Yeah, anybody less tough than him would have give up a long time ago.
He didn't need this crap. He's got all the money he needs. He could live anywhere he wanted.
Yeah. It all boils down to the love of America.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
That's all it is.
Yeah. And he can't stand seeing it get run down to crap. And so he'll step in and say, I'll be the one.
Yep.
I admire that.
Yep. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, he does some stuff that the general public doesn't really approve of, but they've probably done it themselves, and just they're keeping it a secret.
That's right, and that's different. Nobody knows about that. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
Yeah. So I couldn't agree more. So I mentioned that list of drivers. Let me transition to that, and then we're going to talk about his pit pass because I got a pretty cool story there for you as well. So back when I met Jerry, we first met in '96 at Dallas. You were there with Frankie driving at the time, and it was an alcohol car, as I recall.
Yeah, 96 would have been Frankie, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So I had an alcohol dragster that I did it up with, but the motor belonged to Parker, so it went away one night, and I now have a top alcohol dragster roller. So I thought, well, I got to go shopping for a motor. I couldn't afford the damn airfare to get to Dallas, but by God, I'm going to go shopping for a motor. And, of course, it was blown alcohol at the time. That's all we knew. And so I'm thinking all the way, I got to find somebody that will sell me the parts, but would also help me to know how to turn the knobs, because one time putting your foot to the floor, you're going to need a new motor if you don't know what you're doing, and you've gained nothing. So I said, I got to find something. We get to the airport, Robbie and I do, we get to the airport, and I go in to use a restroom after being on the plane for a couple hours, and son of a gun, if I didn't walk in and see the back jacket of Division 7 champion with your name on it, Darien Meadows Racing at the time, I think it was, I thought, crap, well, this got to be the Lord that meant this to be. We met in the bathroom. It's got to be for real. So I said, hey, here's a deal. He says, yeah, I'm sure Jerry will talk to you. Just come by at the end of the day. I'm sure he'll talk to you. And I did. And I'll never forget, you were in, when I first got, it's just hotter than young love there. But when I first got there, it was like my old white trailer, triple axle, towed behind a dually. It's not what we have now. But Jerry's in there working on servicing a set of cylinder heads, and your shirt's off, and you're in your Levi's. So it's just hotter than blazing very hot, and you're just busting your buns working on those cylinder heads. Man, this guy doesn't just sit in and say, put this in it, and I'll be in the air conditioning, waiting for the results. You just worked his tail off. So I came back afterwards, and I can remember we sat down and leaned, I think, against the neighbor's trailer because that's where the shade was, and we talked for a long time. You gave me way more time than was probably reasonable, but I just thought, man, this is awesome. This guy knows what he's doing. So I now go home with, I just need to come up with 40, 50, 60,000 bucks, and we're in. This is going to be great. And it was so far off. I didn't even know how far off I was. So I ended up with the Pro Mod because the guy in Portland built it and didn't want to drive it. And that was good for me because I learned how to drive. It didn't go near as quick as the A-Fuel cars do, but it taught you how to drive.
Yeah.
It ran mid-sixes at 215 or so. That car went everywhere but straight. And but it taught you respect. And then I'll never forget being at the finals in '99 with Parker's with their alcohol funny car, just being a crew guy. And we'd gotten our buns kicked. So we're in the grandstands watching, and we're watching alcohol dragsters. And you had Melanie there with this A-Fuel car. And I remember the guy I was with saying, so it costs the same exact amount of money to run an A-Fuel car as it does that Pro Mod you got. And I said, nah, you're full of crap. No, it's exactly the same cost. You're kidding. I never thought about that. We'd go way faster with the same money. Really? Huh. He says, I think that car's for sale, too. Because next year, they're going to step up and go Top Fuel racing. Remember that?
Yeah.
So I came by the pits, and I sat in the car, and the cage was low, so I had a hard time because she's not as tall as I am. And I got in there, and my memory is I wrote you a check for $10,000 that probably wasn't good at the time. I had to come home and figure out how to make it good. But here's the money to hold that A-Fuel car. By God, I'm going A-Fuel racing. And then the challenge of selling the Pro Mod and coming up with the money. Unbelievable stories. We'll have to do that for another day. But you got me set up, and you helped me out and got me kind of pointing in the right direction. And we've spent hours and hours and hours and hours on the phone over the years solving all the world's problems and learning some stuff about A-Fuel racing.
Yep, that we have.
So with that in mind, here's where you started that I know of. The people who've driven for Jerry back in the beginning that I know of was Larry Sutton.
Larry and I started out, well, Larry and I were friends for a long time because he was a starter at Irwindale.
That's right.
After Lions closed. He was the starter at Lions for umpteen years.
Wow.
And then Lions closed, and all the people from Lions came to Irwindale. Steve Evans and Mary and Joanne and Pam Sutton. They all came to Irwindale,
Wow.
and so Larry and I were friends there, and he drove Bill Carmichael's joint venture car, which was an old Howard Cam Rattler car.
I'll be darned.
They put a Chevrolet in it, blown Chevrolet on alcohol, and that's what they had. And I had at the time a front-motored dragster that I got from Al Weiss. It was an old Weiss and Scott top dragster that I had injected Chevy in on Nitro, 1973.
Wow.
And so Larry and I had been friends for a long time, and he was driving for the landlords. They had a blown alcohol car, and Ken Meadows was giving them a little bit of money to run that car.
Plumbing Concepts.
Southern
California.
And they had gone to a race and had hurt the Donovan, and Ken said, I need you to have that car at Pomona because I have all these vendors and customers coming to Pomona, and I need that car there.
Yeah.
And the owner of the car said, nah, I ain't doing that.
Really?
And so at the time I was hooked up with Al Reed, and I didn't have a car at that time. And so I was driving for Al, and then one day I went out to work on the car, and all my stuff sitting on the curb.
Oh.
So I had a lot of stuff. I just didn't have a car. So
Right.
so we cobbled this car together, and Larry goes, well, I'll get Meadows to help us a little bit, and he's got a car that he wants us to run.
Wow.
And so we put that car together, and we ran it for the first year, and we did okay with it. But then when we put my car together, we won the first race with Larry at Vegas, a points meet, and so I'd have to think back, but that was probably 1990, 91, and then we we ran together till about 94.
Okay.
And at that time, Selzy was driving for Jack Burr and Tom Lemon in an alcohol funny car.
Yeah.
Well, they were kind of struggling, so they decided to park it. So Selzy calls me and he goes, "Are you going to Sonoma?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Would you bring my fire suit and my Whipple blower with you? Because I'm not going to drive for Jack and Tom anymore."
Right.
And I said, "Yeah, no problem." He goes, "Well, what are you going to do?" Because Larry and I had come to our ending. I mean, amicable ending.
Yeah, sure.
But I go, "Well, I'm going to see if I can remember how to drive this thing." And he goes, "Jerry, I'm pretty sure I still know how." So I said, well, okay, because I mean, he'd done well in the alcohol car, his own, and so I go, "Yeah, we can do this." So I drove to his shop in Fresno, and we fit him to the car and went to Sonoma and went to the final.
I'll be darned.
And
he was a good driver.
And when he first started, he goes, "Jerry, I know you've been a good driver, and I don't want to just be good. I want to be as good as possible."
Oh, wow.
He goes, "Anything you can do to help me, anything you can tell me, I want you to do that because I want to be good."
That's awesome.
So he drove for a year and a half, and he got the call from Alan Johnson.
Right.
"I want you to drive my top fuel car."
Right.
And I mean, it was Selzy's dream come true.
Of course.
That's where he wanted to be.
Was that after we lost Blaine?
Yeah.
So Gary replaced Blaine.
Yeah.
What an incredible legacy and story. Unbelievable.
See, and they go back to the sand because Alan ran in the sand, and Sells ran in the sand, and
I didn't know that.
Mike Gordon ran in the sand. There's a lot of those guys from that Mid Valley were sand drag guys.
Wow.
So
he gets the call up, gets to go top fuel racing, and some reason you moved from from the blown alcohol car. You decided injected fuel might be worth taking a look at.
Well, not yet.
Okay.
No. So I tell Sells, "You can't leave me.
Oh.
You got to supply me with a suitable replacement before you go."
Okay.
And that's when I got the In-N-Out deal. When Guy Snyder called me and said, "Hey, Jerry, I can sponsor your car now," because Guy and I had been friends for years.
And he's the one who owned all the In-N-Out stores.
Well, his mother was still alive.
Okay.
But his brother had gotten killed in that plane crash,
Yeah.
and his father had passed.
Yeah.
So Guy and his mom were the two
sole
props.
Wow.
So then I'm going, okay, pressure, nothing like pressure. I need to go to Pomona with a good driver.
Yeah.
So I call Frankie, and he goes, "Oh, dear God, I'd love to drive your car." So Frankie drove 96.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He drove and I was still blowing alcohol in 96.
Because A fuel didn't happen until 98.
97.
Okay.
I started out. Yeah. No, Frankie drove 97. He drove 97. 98. I started out with the A fuel car, but I still had the alcohol car.
Yeah.
So I called Melanie Trox. I called Mike Troxel. I said, "Hey, Mike,
Right.
Can your daughter drive my alcohol car?" He goes, "Well," and Mike and I have been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
He said, "Well, call her and ask her." Oh, okay. So, "Hey, Melanie, you want to drive my car?" "Oh, God, I'd love to. Can my mom and dad be on the crew?" I go, "Yeah, that'd be great, because right now you don't have one."
You and me.
So she drove the blown car at Pomona that year.
Oh, no kidding.
And Shane Gay drove the A fuel car.
Right.
And so Shane drove the A fuel car all of 98, other than a few races that Mel and I did with that car,
Which included Woodburn, as I recall.
Yeah. And well, some of that's a little fuzzy, but we built your car,
Right.
and that's the one we won Woodburn with.
Yes, that's what I remember.
And that was we'd run Shane's car with Melanie in it at Boise,
Okay.
at the earlier race
Yeah.
in the year,
Yeah.
and we sucked.
Yeah.
Because Boise was altitude deal, and
really hard.
you know, and we had cylinders out in the spare motor, and that thing wouldn't get out of its own way. I mean, its shadow was faster than it. But so we mixed that car in a little bit, and then she drove her dad's blown alcohol car the same year.
Remember that?
Well, in '99 we were one car. We were
Right.
a one-car family in '99.
Why did you consider the move from blown alcohol to injected fuel? What caused you to want to look at that seriously and do it?
I saw people that I didn't have a whole lot of respect for that ran real good with injected nitro cars, and I ran my shit. Well, I put a little nitro in my flathead 18 years ago, but I ran that small block Chevy on nitro, and then I had that Donovan in that front motored car on nitro, and there's just something about the nitro thing, and you know, you go down that road and
Pretty hard to come back.
Pretty hard to go back to parts wash.
That's right. I blame you for shoving that needle in my arm, and it's unbelievably addicting.
Yeah,
Nitro's incredible stuff.
You know, part of it is the magic of it.
Yes. That defies all logic and science. And reason.
Yeah. You know, you just when you think you know something, God slaps you behind the head, and you realize you don't know anything.
That's right. That's exactly right. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So I mean, that was the deal, and then I sold all the alcohol stuff and never looked back. I mean,
okay,
I've been 26 more years of injected fuel
racing.
Yeah,
that's so cool. We're gonna pause here and we're gonna get our libation going. So if you know Jerry at all, you don't have to wonder what his favorite drink is. I can remember this back from the very beginning, and it didn't come out till the day was over. Everything was done and put away for sure. But if we'd run well, then I could tell you what was going to come out. Jerry's where I learned what Crown and Seven was, and I mean Crown and Seven. I don't mean Sprite. Don't bring you diet crap. Crown and Seven. So I got us hooked up here.
But you know, I started out with plain old Seagram 7.
Oh.
7 and 7.
Okay.
Because that was a little more affordable in my youth.
That's funny.
And then we went to VO7, and then we finally graduated to Crown. You know, it's too bad I wasn't thinking about it. My daughter made me a quilt. She does quilting.
Really?
She made me a quilt out of Crown bags.
Are you serious?
It's huge.
Oh, my God.
It's like bedspread size out of Crown bags. And she goes, Dad, this is the last one. That crap they make these out of sticks to your iron.
Oh. That's funny. That's funny. Oh, my gosh. I did not know that. Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah, she's pretty talented at that quilting.
Well, you have to be, but you're talking a lot of Crown bags. I mean, that's more than a few.
Well, yeah.
I remember being at your house in Azusa. No.
Covina.
Yeah. Right next to Azusa. And when I first pulled up there, your house had Christmas lights up, and about half of them were broke out. Do you want to explain why you had Christmas lights up in racing season?
Well,
that's a great story.
You know, I was a pretty devout bachelor there for quite a while, and I ran around with some friends that
yes,
we were looking for female companionship, and we would sometimes spend way too much time at the bar, and it was really easy to find my house in July with the Christmas lights on.
Exactly.
And I didn't have to put them up and take them down. It just made sense.
Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. Jerry, cheers to you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that'll work. What's wrong with that?
That vanilla's way too smooth.
Yeah. About 6 or 7 of these, and we're going to have to say that's enough. But for now, we just get started here. All right. Back to some stories here. So you had people that you didn't think a lot of who were doing well with injected fuel, but you didn't know how to run them. So you got hooked up with a couple of them. for a short time.
Yeah.
And decided they didn't know near as much as they thought they did.
I just got to start. I gathered up a bunch of stuff that I was told to gather up, and that was the start. And then I just took it from there.
Yeah.
And from the days when I ran the injected Donovan, had a set of Hellborn stack injectors on it. And,
Wow.
In those days it had a little tiny pump and a little 2-amp mag, and we had a 3-speed trans. And
wow.
Totally different from
yeah.
the way we run them today.
Yeah.
But the whole world was different then.
Everything was different.
Top fuel cars were different in those days
That's
also.
Right. That's right.
And but you just got to go with the times.
Yeah.
And it's a bigger fuel pump and more compression and more cam and more
ignition, more clutch.
Yeah.
Yep. Better tires.
Yeah, bigger tires.
Bigger tires.
Yeah. So, and then now the race packs and Todd's new computer.
Yep.
You can gather more information than you know what to do with.
Absolutely, that's absolute fact.
Yeah.
Todd's brilliant. He is brilliant.
Yeah.
I love what he's doing, going out of his zone. But you're right. All those lines and all that data. You figure, what does all that crap mean?
I've looked at some of those Pro 3s and I'm going, oh my God, I need about a Pro 1.5.
I get it. So we fast forward through here after Mel and Shane and Frankie, and then I'm going to go to Faria because I get involved then because you were going top fuel racing in 2000, and you did for about 1.5 outings.
We went 3 races.
3 races.
We went to Winter Nationals.
Yeah.
And then we went to Phoenix.
Yep.
And then we went to Vegas.
Yep.
And what had happened was Guy Snyder had his heart attack in December. I remember it well. We had won Division 6 with Melanie, alcohol dragster, and we had flown up to Seattle for the banquet.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I get home and find out that this guy had the heart attack. Well, that was on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And Monday, the attorneys are calling me. Hey, your deal's over. Because they, it cut right into their Christmas bonus. So the deal was over. And I had everything. So Meadows and I said, well, we're gonna pursue this and see if we can come up with some sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
And so we finished putting it together and took it out on our dime and tried to come up with sponsorship. And we could have had all the Keystone beer we wanted, but that wasn't going to buy us any parts.
No.
So we ran the 3 races and we did well. We qualified and went a couple rounds and ran good. And at the end of 3 races, I said, I'm not doing this anymore because we're going to the well too many times here, and one of these days the well's going to be dry.
That's right.
And neither one of us want the well to be dry. So we parked it and then we sat on it for quite a while, and then started piecing it out. And we sold the car to David Baca.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
A complete turnkey top fuel car.
Okay.
And then the spare is what Faria and I put together after we took your car out and ran it.
Okay. So we're gonna get to my car, to the big fuel story, but I don't want to move off top fuel yet because tell me I'm wrong. What I remember is I thought it was Vegas, but wherever it was, you guys had wounded a motor pretty badly.
It was Vegas.
Okay. And my memory was they put the microphone in your face and want to know what happened. And I remember what you said. Do you?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Here's what I remember. So this thing's just blowing all the hell, crap everywhere. And these stupid reporters, they just ask the most inarticulate questions at the worst possible time. Your heart's in your shoes, just devastated. Oh, what happened? Why'd that do that? And Jerry said, well, we've got a whole lot of chicken and a little bit of egg, and we're trying to figure out which came first. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that when that thing blew up in Vegas, the only thing that was salvageable was half a block that Meadows turned into a 4-bottle wine rack.
Oh, wow.
There wasn't much else left of that.
That's funny. So you guys are struggling, but you still like go racing. I had put that whopping deposit down on that fuel car, and was struggling to come up with money because I needed to sell the Pro Mod. And so you still had the car because I didn't take delivery yet. I didn't pay enough. And I remember you called me and said, hey, we want to run your car. We're going to take it to Bakersfield and run it. And I thought that meant that I was going to drive, and I was wrong. I was not going to drive.
You didn't own enough at that time.
No, but I thought I did, but I did not. So I was just so crestfallen, like, oh my God, but I can't even get there from here. So, but I flew myself down and rode up with you and from Covina, where you live, where it was, and you smoked at the time. Okay?
A lot.
And I can remember stopping at a gas station in Bakersfield and filling up some jug with 5 gallons of gas, and that was our parts washing stuff as a cigarette hangs out the side of your mouth. I thought, wow, these guys are hardcore. This could all go up in a moment. It's very funny. But we get to Bakersfield, and I was rooting against Faria because I wanted to look bad because, by God, it's my car. I'm going to drive this thing. And I remember him rolling through the water for the first burnout. Must not have had it trimmed right because he steps up and goes, bah, and doesn't even roll the tire.
Yeah.
I thought, this thing ain't going to run for shit. He didn't even do a burnout. And I was wrong. He steps on the gas, and it was a 41 or 42 or something, but it was top of the pack. Blah, lumbers down there 541. And, holy crap, it worked. And I thought, that's right. That's my car right there. Damn it, that's my car. I'm old ass. So this is some of the hardest times I've ever had with Jerry, but I'm going to tell you the truth what happened. So we go pick up the car and start towing it back, and I'm elated. And look how fast this car of mine goes. And I made some inappropriate comment to you about that, apparently, about how proud I was of that car. Do you remember what you said to me? I do. You said, take that $10,000 a year and put it out in that goddamn field right there until you can grow some more of it and have enough of it to come buy this car. Otherwise, ain't much to talk about. I was devastated. So I get back to the pits, and you guys are servicing the car. And I'll never forget calling Robbie, because I was having such a hard time making this happen. And at those days, he just had the triple axle white trailer like we all had, 45-ish foot. But I remember calling her saying, it's so hard to come up with the money to buy the car. I said, oh my God, Robbie, you should see how much crap these guys have in the trailer to work on the car and all the spare parts. I said, I could never get there from here. I almost bailed and quit, but I didn't. And she stayed with me and believed in me and sacrificed things she ought not to have sacrificed, and regrets it now, I think, because I'm still doing it. But I was telling Jerry before we started recording that I believe all my heart, I can't get there from here. There's no way I can do this. Look at all this crap this guy has. I can't even get the damn car. And now, all these decades later, I have way more stuff now than what he had, at least in that trailer at that time. And he still has exponentially much more than I do, so you never catch up. But I've got a complete turnkey fuel operation. I can go run anytime we have enough money in our checking account to buy clutch discs and nitro. And nobody can tell me I can or can't except for Robbie. But my name's not on somebody else's car.
Back in those days, I used to cut the clutch discs at the races because we never had enough spare stuff to make packs. And
wow, that speaks to me. Wow.
Here I am at the back of the trailer with this Ray Frank's clutch cutter cutting clutch discs, and Mike Troxel goes, he laughs. Troxel was a great guy. I mean, him and I had a lot of fun together. Was really sorry when he passed, and it was a very sad deal. But he goes, God damn, Darien, you're like the Walmart greeter back there. And the next race, he brings me a Walmart vest, which I still have.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But and that's what I had to do in those days. I had to cut those discs as soon as they cooled off enough. I had to cut them and put them back in the car.
As soon as they cooled off. You don't mean for later laps, like we need them right now.
Like the next lap, yeah. They had to get cut and go back in the car.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And now I got probably 500 discs.
Oh, I got a tremendous amount of stuff.
But I mean, I don't know. I say that I'm not a hoarder, but I am a hoarder preventer.
Okay.
And I found that nothing gets cheaper, and nothing gets easier to come by.
Oh, that's a fact.
So whenever you can afford stuff you're going to need down the road, you need to bite the bullet and buy it.
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
And so it's worked out for me to be a hoarder preventer.
So that's absolutely true. So how did you get hooked up with Brandon Bernstein?
Kenny called me.
Really?
He goes, Jerry, I want to put my kid in your car. I want to teach him to drive. And we talked about it a little bit, and he said, this is what I can do. And I said, okay, we can do this. And so away we went. And I had never not met Brandon. And we got along really good, and he was a lot of fun to be around.
A lot of fun. You guys are lifelong friends now.
Well, yeah, till he cut me off the Lucas deal. I told him, I said, Brandon, I thought we were a little tighter than this.
Yeah.
Here I am, cut off. And he goes, Jerry, if it makes you feel any better, I had to cut 600 people off.
Oh, my
God. I go, I'd felt a lot better if you'd have cut 599.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, and I have a lot of respect for Kenny. He told Brandon, he goes, you're riding in that truck with Jerry and you're doing whatever he tells you.
Oh, wow.
And if you think you're going to fly, you better be able to open your wallet.
Wow, I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be darned.
So he rode in the truck with me, and he took the body off every Monday and scrubbed that thing inside and out and waxed it and checked the chassis from front to rear for for wear and tear, cracks and what have you, and he did a real good job. We won that first race, the spring race in Vegas, where we doubled up with Kenny.
Yeah.
Took us like 4 hours to get pictures taken. They come out
awesome.
with tubs of hats and stuff that we had to wear with different pictures for Paws Party Mix and Budweiser, and on and on. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with Brandon, and
he learned how to drive and got the call to come up.
Yeah, he did good in the top fuel car. Did too good. He tried to save a run that he shouldn't have tried to save.
And he got hurt.
Yeah, and I don't think his heart was ever in it after that.
Oh.
But I don't know. I don't know that.
Huh. Amazing. But, so Brandon moves on, and then somehow you get hooked up with Morgan.
Yeah. I don't remember who it was. I think Morgan came to me with his mom.
Oh.
And that's a pretty funny story. I look at him, and he's 6'3".
He's tall like
but
a
his
kid.
Pants are hanging off his butt. And I said, yeah, I'm not sure you're going to fit in the car because I really can't tell how long your legs are. So he pulls his pants up, and I go, "Oh my God, we're going to have to lengthen the foot box." So I had to do another bay in that car and lengthen that foot box 8 inches.
Are you? Oh my God!
Yeah,
because
he was 6'3", and it was all leg.
It's all leg.
Yeah. Once he pulled his pants up, it was all leg.
That's funny.
So that was the middle of 2003.
Okay. Then your life changes. He moves on, gets his own car, runs it himself for family or whatever, but does his own thing. And you're out a driver, but somehow, no. Okay.
At Seattle in 2003, John came to me and he goes, "What do you got going for next year?" And I said, "Well, I don't think I have anything going." He goes, "Well, I want to put Ashley in your car."
Yeah.
He goes, "But I don't want to make the same mistake that Kenny made." He goes, "I want to put her in for 3 years. I don't want her coming out of that car and not knowing how to drive." He said, "You teach her how to drive, and I'll teach her how to get the money."
Yes. I remember those days.
I said,
oh my
okay. God. So then we were ready to go in 2004 with Ashley, and we'd gone to Vegas in 2003. And got her license.
Yeah.
And all she needed was a cross grade from the Super Comp car, but she was a natural right from the get go.
She was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can remember competing against you guys at that time and just so overwhelmed with, wow, that's incredible what you guys can do.
Yeah. Yeah. She was good right from the get go. The very first lap, I asked her how far she was going to go, and she goes, "I'm going to half track," and I'm going, sure you are. Sure you are.
For new drivers, when you step down on that throttle in a fuel car the first time, if you're not familiar with it, the car will drive out from under your foot. If you don't commit enough, and it really gets your attention because it accelerates so hard, you have to commit.
Now, she'd been probably 170 in that super comp car,
Right,
and now
right.
she's going to go 220 to the 8th.
Right.
And I'm thinking, yeah, you're going to half track, all
Sure.
right. She goes out there and goes 362 to the 8th, has it shut off, and the time slip says 364 to the 8th.
Oh my God!
I'm thinking, okay,
wow, we may have a driver.
we got a driver here. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we went to Pomona next and won first round and lost second round to Steve Faria.
Oh.
And she nosed it into the sand. And,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh.
And get down there and she's crying, and I go, Ash, quit crying. You just nosed it into the sand. I go, you can't take this fire suit back to Simpson and have him put a Kleenex pocket in it. So we're all laughing, and then she's okay. But she goes, Jerry, all the laps I made in Vegas and all the qualifying and first round and everything, I'd never seen a car in the other lane. And she goes, Steve's out there in front of me, and his parachutes come out. And she goes, God, those parachutes are so cool. Oh, crap, I need one of those.
Oh my God!
So,
and that's at Pomona.
Yeah.
It was one of the worst places to have that happen.
yeah, but
short.
See, that was one of the nicest parts about Ash is she didn't BS around. She just told it like it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's how it was.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't miss a lick.
Yeah.
Oh crap! I need one of those. So,
And you guys and Debbie became really lifelong friends.
well, see, Ash couldn't rent a car 'cause she was only 21.
Okay.
And Mandy came with her because
Yes.
Mandy did all the PR.
Yep.
Mandy's only 21, so she couldn't rent a car. So Debbie flew with them everywhere they went. And Deb rented the car and drove.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, the three of them were
Yeah.
hooked together.
Yeah. I remember that.
So, and I mean, Deb still stays in contact with Ash quite often.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little harder. Ash has got her own life and her two kids,
kids.
and her job and
Yeah.
all that. And so she's pretty busy, but they text back and forth and they stay in touch.
That's awesome. So this can't be in order because I don't remember who it was after Ashley, but it wasn't the other two gals. There was somebody in between. I don't remember what it was.
Oh yeah, I went off the deep end there for a little while in 2007, and then John called me again. He goes, "Hey Jerry, I went to Bakersfield with the girls to run Super Comp, and we were out there and we ran at 7:00 in the morning. We sat around all day. We went back up at 4:00 in the afternoon to make our second run. We sat around for a long time, and they told us to go back to the pits and come up the next day." And he goes, Courtney comes up to me and says, "Dad, when can we put the A-Fuel car together? We've been in Super Comp longer than Ashley was before you moved her up to the A-Fuel car."
That's funny.
So he goes, so what do we got to do? I go, "Well, we just got to put it together. That's all. No big deal." So we put it together, and that was 2007. We went to Vegas and got Courtney her license. Brittany struggled a little bit. We ended up doing hers in Phoenix. In 2008,
Right.
and then the two of them shared that car for 2008 till Indy.
So who talked you into the second car?
Oh, John calls me up. "Hey, Jerry, the girls have rolled dice. They've cut cards. They've drawn straws. They played rock, stick, scissors, paper, and they can't decide who's going to drive at Indy. So can we put the other car together?" I go, "John, you know where I come from, the guy that signs the front of the check gets what he wants done by the guy that signs the back." And I said, "I'm signing the back of these checks, so we'll get her done."
Right.
So and Casey was with me then. Casey started helping me in 2007.
I remember that.
And so
you brought me to Topeka to teach him how to do the bottom end, and I went there with you, and that was the first time he'd worked on the car, and he was a very talented kid.
he did the clutch up until then.
Yeah.
And that's when Troy Buff drove.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was short of a driver there, and I called Troy up. Troy and I've been friends for 100 years. His dad and I raced together for years. His dad ran that Gold Digger,
Yeah.
a front motored A-Fuel car with a late model in it.
Wow.
So anyway, so Casey's helping me. So I had that that Beverly Hillbillies trailer that we put together to go to Columbus to get our new T&E, and took everything we owned on that open trailer except for Granny's rocker. And so we drag that car to Indy. And we go to McKinney's. We put the big cage on it because we had to have the big cage.
Yes.
We had to have the helmet shield. We had to have the big head pads. So we drag that thing to McKinney's and do that. And we go to Indy, run the thing at Indy, and Forrest says, well, we're going to go to Dallas now. He goes, but we ain't going on that open trailer. you got to figure out how to get both cars in the big trailer. Oh my God. Okay, so I spent 3 weeks at Indy. Me and Rooman helped me a lot with all the welding and fabricating, the 2 sets of awning poles and 2 sets of everything. But we get it all done, and we still got the open trailer with a bunch of crap on it. And so we go to Dallas with 2 rigs, and we did okay in Dallas, and then from there I think we went back to California for the rest of the year. And then the next year, 2009, we ran both cars. 2010 we ran both cars up until Seattle when Mark Niver got killed.
Yeah,
and that was the end of the end of the whole Force deal. I mean,
that put fear God in John.
Well, he had people saying that, if those kids only went 1,000 feet, this wouldn't happen.
Crap.
And so, I mean, it's okay for Britt to go 300 mile an hour and 1,000 feet, but not 270 in 1320.
Right.
So anyway, that was the end of that. And then that's when Megan McKernan came along. Her dad was the
AAA guy.
The big cheese at AAA, and he's the one that kept the AAA deal going with Force.
Oh, okay.
And he was a car guy. He's got a really nice 56 Chevy, and he's got a GTO, and he's got a couple of Corvettes, and he's a car guy. And so we did the deal with Megan for 5 years, 6 years, and Casey and I dabbled on and off together all those years.
Right.
We tinkered with his front motored car. We put one of my old top fuel motors in that front motored car and ran.
I remember that.
We ran nostalgia with that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
We had a lot of nice parts in that car, and the thing ran good. I mean, ran 619, 227.
Really? That's stout. That's really stout.
190-inch wheelbase. It's a little short thing. And actually, Casey got his top alcohol license in that front motored A fuel car.
Really?
Because it ran the number.
Yeah.
And
didn't know that.
And all them guys hated us.
Right. That's what I say. All the people that were the old dogs of that world, that nostalgia A fuel world, didn't like everything you were doing at all.
Well, they immediately accused us of cheating.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you guys got a giant fuel pump. You had Force had Waterman build you a special fuel pump. I go, maybe you guys ought to shit can some of those old 354 Chrysler parts and think about maybe some stuff like we got for this car. And so we did that. We ended up second in that Heritage Series that year, and we kind of just got tired of the whining, and we put the other car together, and we ran this car in 2012. That was our first time with it.
Wow!
And we took it to Salt Lake City, and we won one of the Ironman IHRA Nitro Jams. Yeah, it was first race we went to, real race, and won the Friday event, and then we got beat in the final of the Saturday event.
Wow.
But so then Casey and I dabbled with that car off and on, and then Chip came along. Chip Weimer came along, wanted to run a nostalgia A fuel car, and I tried to tell him that he didn't. Tried really hard to tell him that he didn't, and he tried really hard to tell me that he wanted to do this and we were going to do it, and so we did, and we did okay with it, but not well, because that's when people were using the big fuel pumps and putting the restrictors in them to make them flow right to fit the rule,
right.
but they had a lot of fuel to get the thing moving and
early, yeah,
and an automatic lean out in them, and
right.
and we didn't want to play that game, so
Yeah.
we quit, and that's when Chip decided that he wanted to go to Bonneville.
Ah, that's how that started. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, and Chip's he's an attorney, and his line of work is he defends cities from these frivolous lawsuits.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
Like one of the stories he tells is this guy's drunker than a skunk, got his sunglasses on, riding his bike down a dirt road that says dead end, and he goes down and he hits a K-wall, flies over the K-wall, and dies.
Oh, God.
So his family's suing the city because this dirt road that says do not enter, dead end, is not well lit.
Wow.
So that's the kind of stuff he runs into. But
Wow.
you know, I mean, it's all pretty sad because
Yeah.
people have died, and
Of course.
yeah, you know, and all kinds of stories. I mean, some of them you don't even want to hear. I mean, how people get hit by a bus and live, and you know, stuff. But anyway, he needed something to do, so he wanted to do this Bonneville car. So so we get it all together, and we go to Bonneville. We make 3 runs, and we learned that we have way more to learn. And so we took it home and we put a dry sump on it because it ran out of oil at the 3 mile, and you know, we needed to make some changes. So we get all these things done. Chip drags it back to Bonneville, and it rains.
Oh, yeah.
So you know, you go to Bonneville, they jack the rooms up from $50 a night to $200 a night, and you got a 5-night minimum,
Right.
You know, so we get through that year, and he's all hopped up to go to the next year, drags it back up the next year, gets rained out again.
Oh, my God.
And so he goes, okay, I'm over Bonneville. So that car's for sale. So that ended, but then Casey and I have been hitting it pretty hard with the green car.
Yeah, you have.
And that keeps me busy. And you know, I ended up going to Malta and helping the guys in Malta for that one whole year, and we won the European Championship, and they had a parade and
Really?
the whole
God,
country
I
of
didn't hear that.
Malta is all happy that they got a world champion on their hands.
I hadn't heard that. That's funny.
So I did that, and then I've been to Sweden with those guys quite a bit. And
Johnny Lag.
and
He's awesome.
Tony Brynnison.
Yeah.
There's
That's
the two of them. So I've stayed plenty busy for somebody that's supposed to be not being this busy.
Right. So, of those stories, I want to back up and fill in the blanks on a couple of them because I had the privilege of being involved in a couple of them, and including I got to go to Sanapod once. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But let's back up in time a little bit first, and back at the 2 girls, Courtney and Brittany, and getting them licensed. I had the privilege of being there. I got 9 million photos. Can't show them all, but show a couple of them at the end of the day, and the old gang, and that was quite a hoot. That was amazing. I got to spend time. I was so sick that day. I was staying near Totor a lot. I was so damn sick. But anyway, I came out and I got to talk with John quite a bit. Unbelievably personable and a lot of fun. My memory, you have to correct me because you were in charge of this, not me, but my memory was John, all he wanted was for the girls to learn to drive and don't hurt my girls.
Yep. Keep them safe.
Keep them safe.
Keep them safe. He said that a lot. Keep them safe.
And to that end, my memory is he didn't care if he went to run was divisional then, regional now, but that facility had to have life flight or you didn't get to go.
Yeah. Needed K-wall and not that Armco or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So there were rules. Because he didn't care about the points or the performance near as much as he cared about teach them to drive, keep them safe.
With Ashley, it took us a while to get going.
Yeah.
And we ended up 4th in the world that year.
Oh, wow.
But we didn't get to count the points from Indy. We didn't get to count the points from winning Dallas. We didn't get to count the points from winning Pomona because we'd gone to our quota of races.
Oh, no, you're kidding.
Early in the year because we went everywhere. That first year with Ashley, I was gone from home for 29 weekends.
Oh, my gosh.
We made 140 runs that year.
That's unbelievable.
But that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, he knows that, you know, you gotta go down the course to learn to do this and to get good at it.
Yeah.
And he said, just go here, go there, go here, go there. So that's what we did.
Yeah, you made a lot of laps.
And,
absolutely.
you know, like I say, we finished fourth, even though none of those races that we won counted.
So if you could have counted it correctly, you guys would have won.
Yeah, if we'd have picked and choose.
Right, right. But so picture this is in, I believe, 08. It was a year after John got hurt so bad in Dallas. I believe in 07. And anyway, after running the car and getting license passes, we go to, I don't know what it's called, but the steakhouse, and they've got the stairs you can go down, and you can go down the slide. Well, that's Courtney and John Forrest coming down the slide, and here's John getting off the slide by himself, and you can still see the bandages from his wounds from a year earlier. He was still recovering from, but he's the most devoted father I think I've ever seen. You know what else I remember? I got the privilege to go help him as we were running 2 cars. There's just a lot of stuff to keep track of. And I just tried to keep him together. I didn't tune him. It was his job, but tried to not have any mistakes, nothing fall off the car. But what I remember so distinctly was John would come in the trailer, and he was just dogging those girls. Girls, did you thank those guys working on your car for you? Did you thank them? Yes, Dad, we did. Well, I didn't hear you. Thank them again. Thank you for my car, guys. He was just on them to be good kids and good students and appreciative, and not rich kids, spoiled rich kids.
He told Ashley, you get out there and you work those ropes. Those people pay your wages.
Oh, wow.
And I've seen Ashley go through 3 Sharpies in a day.
Oh, my word.
Because she worked the ropes. She signed autographs and signed autographs and signed autographs. And she was funny because she'd come back from the ropes and some guy in a tank top all sweaty and drunked up and wanted his picture taken with her and put his arm around her. And she's comes running back in the lounge to tidy up a little bit, get the stench off.
Wow. Amazing.
But she worked the ropes and I watched John work the ropes. I mean, you know, we'd be out there at midnight and somebody'd come up and he'd take the time to go talk to him and sign autographs for him. But that's the way he is. I mean, he's appreciative that he's been able to do what he's done.
He remembers where he came from.
And he wants the girls to appreciate what they were able to do.
So every night at the end of the day, we'd go out for dinner, and there was a big group of us. There was a lot of folks. I would not want to pay that tab, but I can remember being at this Mexican restaurant with the 2 girls there. John's at the head of the table, and so he says, "Girls, it wasn't like this for me. You have no idea. You guys make dinner reservations for 7 o'clock." He says, "I used to make reservations at 7 o'clock at the Burn Center."
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Yeah. Very funny.
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
So I got to be at Indy with you guys and try to keep the car that Courtney was driving together in one piece. And the car ran well. You guys did really well. The car ran well. But I remember John sneaking up on that darn little scooter. He'd be putting him in the car, doing whatever, and he's there and he's gone, he's there and he's gone. But it was always 1,000 questions a second they're trying to keep up with because he is on something that we need desperately, whatever it is. Oh, my God.
You know, one of my favorite all-time deals was when Britt was doing her student teaching.
Yes.
She had to be at school, and
I remember
and
that.
we're at Pomona. And Courtney goes out and goes 5:30, and she's low. And Britt missed the first day. I think she got to make the run the second day and didn't do real well. Third day she's not in, and she comes flying in from school, and John's waiting for her at the gate, takes her to the trailer, gets her fire suit on. We've towed the thing up to the lanes.
Wow.
John comes hauling up there with her on the scooter. We throw her in. She goes out and goes 29. She's low.
Oh, my God. Well, that's an awesome story. That's so cool.
So the girls were 1 and 2 for Winter Nationals that year.
That's so cool.
It was cool because, you know, Britt didn't say much, and you know, nobody thought she wanted to do this.
I didn't. She was going to go teach. She's not a driver.
She she just wasn't the same as
No.
Ash and Courtney.
No.
But underneath, she was John,
Yeah.
and she still is.
Yes. She's incredible now.
Yeah.
But wait, you didn't see it then? I didn't see it then. Now she's going to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Now she's been world champ in top fuel.
Twice.
Yeah. Oh, my God. So, yeah, incredible. So, after that, then, I had the privilege, 2016, our friends in Malta with the Claunch car, Chris.
Baladano.
Yeah, it's Polidano, yeah. Oh, my God. I had more fun doing that than anything I've ever done. That they race family is the thing, and they bring cases of wine with them, cases of this crap. It's just unreal. But, oh, God. But I get over there and trying to make this thing run okay, and the cool part is the very first 520 pass I ever made was not in my car. It was in this car. We went 29 with a 9. And we were number one qualifier. So there's Johnny's car, Johnny Lagg's car there, and Chris Polidano, and they were just great people. His English was left a little bit to be desired, but we had such a good time. It was one of the best experiences of my life. I would do that again in a flipping heartbeat. That was so much fun. But when I got there, it took me a minute to figure out the program because, I don't know if it shows it here, but they didn't really understand how this stuff worked. So what I noticed is that between that hose and that poppet, it'd be a number 3 goes there, 4 goes there, 5 there, 6 there. So everything had to be numeric in line. I thought, holy crap, maybe you guys ought to learn what this stuff actually does, because it could be in a big pile. You still need to know how to put it together. It's not the way it worked. 6 goes to 7, 7 goes to 8. I'm down. I thought, wow. And we fought problems. They had used a fuel line that didn't like nitro, and so it was shedding all this rubbery crap. And I had to flush all that out and start over and get different material. But we did. We persevered. But incredible time. I've got so many stories I could bore you for hours, but it was one of the greatest times of my life. And the only reason I was there was because Jerry didn't want to go or couldn't go at that point, and he gave me the call, and I had the opportunity. I could never repay you for what that experience was in my life. It was life-altering, and it was because of you.
You know, you don't realize how good we've got it till you go do something like that, where those guys have to pay an arm and a leg and in duty and get that stuff from America sent over there on an airplane, which makes it cost 4 times what it ought to.
Right.
And they don't go to the Hilton at night.
Yeah.
They got their mattresses in the top of the trailer, and they go to the public showers and they do all their cooking right there. They don't go to no restaurants.
Nope, none.
I mean, they're we think we're hardcore. We're not even close to hardcore compared to them.
Absolutely.
And so you really have to respect how hard they work to be able to do what we do without having to work very hard.
We can drive from where we're at in Salem, 15 minutes to Woodburn, 4 hours up to Seattle. We can drive 12 hours and get down to Pomona or Vegas, and we can race. For these guys to race different racetracks, they're in different countries, and there's going to be 2 ferry rides, and then a drive, and then another ferry ride. I don't know how you could possibly do it. And then to get crap over there is so unbelievably expensive. I've gotten hooked up with a guy in Australia that's followed me and has asked for some help that I've talked to you about on his A-Fuel car, and he's doing way better. In fact, I got a camshaft that's yours that's going to go to him, because those guys can run 100%.
Yeah.
So it's camshaft that don't work for us, but it'll work for him, and I can't wait to get it to him because I know how well that thing works.
Yeah.
But put 100% in it, damn it. Don't wind her down to 97. Put 100% in it, and it'll work.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was going to buy a crankshaft that I happen to have here, and the used crank was $1,500. Nice crank. It was going to cost, to get it to him, $1,750 was the cheapest UPS offered to get that crankshaft to him. Well, it's just stupid. I mean, you can't do that. So I don't know how they do it. I have no idea.
I sent one to Sweden. It was $1,200. Yeah.
So, they have it way harder than we do. I don't know how they pull it off. You'd about have to have a top fuel budget to race in Europe like we do in A-Fuel here. It's just nuts.
Yeah, it's insane. You know, the other thing that I noticed with them is they all have a lot of talent as far as fabricating and machining and things that they have to make because they can't buy them. They can't call Jegs or Summit and
RCD
get something or RCD. Yeah. They have to make a lot of stuff on their own, and that car that Johnny Lag has, Krister built that thing, and he made the injector for it, and he built the headers, and I mean he just did everything for it. I don't think you ever saw it, but he had a deal on it where he could move the crank triggers on cables.
Oh, you're kidding.
And that's how he retarded and advanced the timing.
I've never heard of that. Are you serious?
Yeah.
My God, that's brilliant.
He had some wheels and some cables, and the crank triggers slid, and the little bimba valve pulled the cable, and the cable pulled the little crank trigger bracket, and it changed the timing.
Wow.
I mean, it was astonishing.
That is nuts.
What he come up with. But that's what they have to do, and that's what makes you have the respect for him that you have.
He came over to Pomona been a few years ago with there were two other guys. They had 3 cars on one T-shirt, and they kind of all worked together over there, which made sense. But anyway, I got to see him again since being there in 2016. It was just a hoot. Just nothing but respect for how hard they have to work to do what we do.
Yeah,
different animal.
Yeah, and they love it. I talk to Tony all the time. I send him parts and do a little tuning over the phone, and he emails me his race pack runs, and Tony's going to probably win the championship this year. He's won one race and he's runner up at the other one. Well, kind of runner up because they never got to run the final. It rained out, but he would have been in the final.
Brother.
So
and they don't make that up somewhere.
No. I don't know what they do, whether they give them equal points or what they do, but anyway. But he went 5:23 at that last race.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, and the record over there is 5:21.
Oh wow.
So
that's cool.
So he'll be all right.
Yeah, that's cool. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. I remember being at at Vegas, at Indy with the girls. It was the end of the outing, and Robert had won in funny car. And so got some of the hats, still got the hat at home. They handled a bunch of those hats. But at the end of the deal, I remember John gathering all the teams around. It seemed like the end of the trailer that you had, and just was talking to everybody and thanking everybody. And I can still remember the conversation we had, and I just thought, man, this guy is extremely gracious when nobody's even looking. Nobody even knows. You'd have to be part of this to know any of this. And he's still kind and gracious, and I was just so impressed. I just couldn't believe it. Wow, this is really, really awesome.
I really enjoyed my years there with him.
I bet.
And it started out day one. He's got everybody gathered around. He does not know my name. So being the wise guy that I am, when he says, I don't even know your first name, and I go, it's Mr. I go, it's been Mr. for 28 years. It was Mr. Darien when I was teaching high school. So that went over his head. But Eric Medlin caught it.
Oh, wow.
So every now and then after that, I'd hear this, hey, mister, and it was Eric. But John's got everybody gathered around, and he goes, I know you guys, maybe this is the first time you've been away from home, and I know you're probably going to go out and have a few beers, and you might end up having a few too many beers. And he goes, and I really only have one thing to ask of you. If you're going to do that, wear your Don Perdome T-shirt.
That's awesome.
So that's where it started, and then 2004 with Ashley, we won World Finals, and John won World Finals in 2004.
That's awesome.
And so we got that double up.
That's cool.
And he came to me and he goes, Jerry, you probably just saved my Castrol deal with Ashley. He goes, money falls out of the sky for Ashley.
Oh,
he
my
says,
word.
He goes, I struggle to get enough for myself, but it falls out of the sky for her.
Wow.
And so when Christmas came, he gave me a world championship ring.
Oh, how cool.
Because he won that world championship in 2004.
Oh, my God.
Well, same thing with my wife. He didn't know her first name, called her Mom. Because she was mom to
the girls.
to Ash and Mandy. So gave her a world championship ring also.
Oh, man, that's so cool.
I don't know what those cost. Probably cost him, I don't know, 8-10 million or something. But
That's cool.
It's one of my most cherished possessions.
Oh, absolutely. That's fantastic. Oh. So you've had all these people drive for you. You've had an incredible impact, not just on drag racing, but on the whole A-Fuel world. People are doing this because of what you designed and developed a very long time ago. The original A-Fuel camshaft was you and Tansy. Steve Tansy was with Urson Camstein in the pits talking about, we need something that's going to work with this darn thing. What would it be? And somehow you came up with what I know as the A-Fuel camshaft.
It was World Finals. I told Tansy, I go, Tans, I'm going to do this A-Fuel thing next year. And I go, best I can understand, they leave from an idle around 2,000 RPM, and they rev up to like maybe 6,500 at the finish line.
Right.
What kind of a camshaft do I need for that? And he goes, well, Jerry, probably ought to call J.C. Whitney and get yourself an RV cam.
RV cam. I remember that. I remember that.
So a little while later, Tansy grinds me an RV cam, and it worked. I mean,
worked well.
I ran that thing forever on 100%.
On 100% with the Brad Fathead 5s.
Yep.
Okay, with
Yep.
a square tube manifold.
Yep.
And that crap worked.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And back in those days, it made so much power that there was enough overlap in the camshaft that you sent a lot of the fuel right back out the header.
Well, they were nice flames in those
Exactly.
days.
That's
yeah.
the point. Those flames were stand them up to the wing
Yeah.
all the way from the step to the finish line.
Yeah.
Those days are over.
Yeah, they are.
And that just sucks. But when they took the percentage away, you got to go back to the bank account and get whatever power back you can. So you tighten up that overlap so you're not sending near as much out the header pipe.
Yeah.
It's got to stay in there and make the big kaboom.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's where that all started with Tansy. Tansy, I love him like a brother.
He's a good guy. He's been awful good to me, too.
He made all the top fuel cams for me also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all the drivers you trained, all the influence that you've had that has shaped this sport and the part of the sport that we're in to be what it is today. And I remember I believe it was 2018, where they called you and you got inducted into the Drag Racing Hall of Fame.
The Hot Rod Reunion,
Yeah.
they don't call it Hall of Fame. I forget what they call it.
But you got a big Wally for that.
Yeah, it's the silver one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
That was
cool.
2018, yeah. I was not prepared for that because, I've never felt like I've really done anything special. I just do what I do.
Right.
And I just get up in the morning and I go do what I do, and
Right.
whatever happens that day has happened, and tomorrow I get up and it's a new day, and I never really ever put any thought into anything like that. Honoree, Hot Rod Reunion honoree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very, very, very special.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't remember everybody that was in that deal, but Jim Murphy was in it with me at that time.
Yeah.
And Jim's got a guy that's been with him forever on all of Jim's cars, Dan Wilkison, Wilkison,
Yeah.
Wilkison.
I'll be darned.
So anyway, he and I became really good friends, and we help each other out with a lot of stuff. And he's been a great friend, and it's because of that Hot Rod Reunion deal that happened.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and I got to thank people for a lot of stuff at that deal. A long time ago, when I was a little snot-nosed punk, I had this flathead roadster, and I had I had built a manifold out of steel, and I put 2 AFB carburetors, 4 barrels on this manifold that I made out of a 4.2 manifold and a bunch of steel plate. And that flathead did not like 2 4 barrels. And so it shot more gas up in the air than it shot down into the motor. So I found a Hillborn injector from a guy in Illinois, and I bought this Hillborn, and I bolted it on my flathead. And I was living in Colorado, going to college at the time.
Wow.
And so I get this thing in December, and I put it on, and I don't know nothing about Hillborns. So I put this thing on, and it was push start days. I mean, that flathead was a push to start.
Yeah.
So I'm pushing this thing around the streets till I find a dry spot to let the clutch out so the thing will turn over, and it turns over and it starts. And I go, all right, this thing started. Let's take it to Beeline, Arizona for the AHRA Winter Nationals. Okay. So we go to Beeline, and the thing runs like shit. I mean, it's terrible. It is terrible. And I'd read all these magazines, all these hot rod magazines. And remember, I'd never been out of out of Colorado in my life. And so I'd read about this guy named Ed Pink.
Yep.
And he'd tinkered with flatheads,
Yep.
him and Lou Baney. Well, Pink and Baney were at Beeline running that Shelby Super Snake Ford Top Fuel Cammer.
Yep.
So I went over there. I gathered up all the nerve I could gather, and I went over there and I said, I know you guys know a lot about flatheads, and I'm really, really struggling with this Hillborn. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Baney had on these white pants with his white shirt with a stripe down him, and he's eating pudding out of this little pudding can. And he goes, Pink, what do you think? And he goes, well, you know, he needs to start from scratch and go through this whole thing right. So he tells me how to check the butterflies for the angle and how to loosen everything up and seat them and how to blow through the barrel valve to get a little percent leakage of your breath.
Right.
And so I go get a sheet off the bed at the motel, and I lay that over the drain at the car wash, and I got my car on the trailer in the car wash under the lights, and I overwhelmed this injector the way Pink told me to do it.
Oh, my word.
I go out the next day, and the thing goes 12 flat
Oh,
on a
my
12
word.
flat record.
Oh, my word.
And so,
Wow.
you know, had it not been for Pink and Baney, you know, I might have committed suicide that day. But because of them, because they took the time to help me, it's made me take the time to help other people, because we all need help.
Yep.
And had they not helped me, I wouldn't have done anything. I have no idea what I would have done.
Wow.
And so Pink was there, and so I told that story.
Wow.
And then the other thing that I told that there was Kelly Brown. Kelly Brown drove a lot of top fuel cars. They won the world championship one year, and I got to know Kelly from working at Irwindale. Kelly was a stunt driver.
Oh.
I don't know if you ever saw that years ago, obviously years ago, that pile of cinder blocks that Ford truck drove up.
Yes.
Well, Kelly drove that Ford truck
Oh.
because that's what he did for a living.
I'll be doing.
Well, whenever they needed a dragster for a commercial, Kelly would hook me up.
Oh.
And so with Kelly hooking me up, that kept me with a little funding coming along so I could continue doing what I was doing.
I'll be doing.
And so that's how I ended up in the Shirley movie and that Burnout movie. And I mean, Kelly hooked me up. And
That's cool.
you know, and there we go again. Somebody helped me.
Right.
Somebody that didn't have to help me helped me.
Right.
So
That's awesome.
bottom line is I've always tried to help everybody that I could help because of all those people that helped me along the line.
Wow. That's an incredible story,
I
Jerry.
mean, it wasn't a lot of money, but at the time it seemed like a lot of money, the Shirley movie thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Kelly hooked me up with that Sega commercial.
Yes.
And I mean, I'd go to the mailbox and there'd be a check for $39 residuals because they showed it in Pittsburgh at 3 in the morning, and I got it for 25 cents every time they showed it.
Wow.
But it was money to go racing with.
Wow.
You know, so I mean, there's been a lot of people that have kicked me kicked my little can down the road.
Wow. I've never heard that story. I've heard most of your stories. I've never heard that one.
Yeah.
Till just now.
It's kind of hard to tell those because I get kind of emotional.
As you should.
My dad only made it to the 6th grade. He had to quit school and go to work. And he became fairly successful because he had common sense and because he was a good man. He had a store which was, in its day, it was a miniature Walmart. It was 40 feet wide and 80 feet long. But he had everything. He had nuts, bolts, screws, nails, meat, vegetables, guns, hats, Levi's shoes, Red Wing shoes, you know. And he would let the farmers have credit till they got their crops sold or their cattle sold or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I guess I got some of that from him because he was very helpful, and he really couldn't afford to be very helpful, but he was. I mean, and he worked 6.5 days a week all of his life, and so I think that's where I got some of that. I mean, I worked 6-7 days a week, and
Yes. So let me jump in and tell you a bit of my story relating to this. So Jerry has helped me. You couldn't possibly count all the times I've been on the phone crying the blues about how hard this is. In fact, it's something that's funny that we don't have to cry about. Remember one of the first times I was telling Jerry after I got my car from him how hard this was to do. I said, I don't know if I can do this. It's overwhelmingly difficult. And Jerry pulled his glass down his nose, looks over the top of the glass, and he says, Greg, if it was easy, the pits would be full of 3rd grade girls with A-fuel cars. I've never forgotten that.
I've said that a lot. Probably too much, actually.
But it changed my life. You're absolutely right. This crap is really hard, but that's where it has value when you achieve something because you've overcome things that are just almost insurmountable, but you persevere.
You know, I call those things a 300-inch Rubik's Cube. You know, and think about all the people that bought a Rubik's Cube for what? You know, if you want all those colors, pull them off there and stick them where you want them. You know, why would you work on that thing for days and hours like I did to get all that stuff lined up? Yeah, that's what I tell Casey. I go, if you want that golf ball to go in that hole, why don't you walk over there and drop it in? Why do you got to beat it up all day to get it in that hole? Just walk over there and drop it in.
Exactly. So I've been on the phone with him countless times trying to figure this out or that out. And I'll never forget this. It's my car. It's my numbers, whether it's camshaft stuff or compression stuff, whatever it is, they're my numbers from my car. I'm looking at them on the paper in front of me. Jerry's on the other end of the phone, a long ways away, and he's doing the math for whatever we're talking about, and all he's got is in his head because they're in front of me on paper, and I can't keep up with the math that he's doing in his head for my stuff. Like, whoa, slow down. It was so unbelievably bright and quick with math. I just couldn't believe it. Do you have a cheat sheet somewhere? Because I got this shit right in front of me, and I can't keep up. It's extremely good with math. These things are big math equations. Everything's numbers and God.
Everything's math. Yeah.
But that happened numerous times to me. Shit, I can't keep up, and I've got them right in front of me.
It's all math.
It's all math.
And the math don't lie.
No. That's really funny. I can remember John telling me about when he started out, and they're in a dually and whatever trailer they had, and they couldn't afford motels. They sleep in the dually, and they'd stop and get bologna, and that's what they share for days.
Yeah.
So all the glitz and the glamour you see now is just because he paid his dues back then, and his car didn't run for crap. It blew up all the time. No. It wasn't what you know now of John Force. This was really hard. family issues, gone all the time, no money, trying to make it work and persevering. Oh my God! But he bought and paid for everything that he did. He earned out there in the hard times.
I don't know how true the story is, but I've heard it more than once. That the reason he got the original sponsorship from that Don Steves Chevrolet is because he was in there every day beating on him, and then finally Don Steves gave him money and told him to go away. Here's money. Go race your car. Go away.
Go away. That's funny. That makes sense. Seen that Don Steves on his car forever.
Yeah,
that's funny.
And that goes back to that loyalty thing.
Yes.
You know, had it not been for Don Steves, he might not have gone anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah,
but he
unbelievable.
He ended up with that deal. So
that's cool.
I watched him one day turn down $5 million in Indy. People wanted
run a car for a season. He said it's not enough.
No, it's not enough. I can make you an associate for that. Give you a large chunk of the car, but you can't be the sole sponsor for that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. $5 million. Going. How many zeros is that again?
Yeah. Oh my word.
You know, I spent 6 years there, and I never had a bad moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I was going to have one or two, but they turned out to be all right in the end. And one day he come out and apologized to me. He goes. Bernie told me if I talked like that to him, he'd quit. So he goes, I guess I shouldn't have been so harsh on you. And I go, well, that's kind of what I was thinking at the time, but what was I going to say?
Right.
You know?
Right. So you and Casey have been running together for a long time. You guys do well. You complement each other well. He's a great kid. He's very innovative at. Of course, I think you have some input on that, but he builds a lot of parts and trinkets and crap that he sells.
I told him, I said, Casey, I have one regret in life, and that's I thought everybody in the world could do everything that I can do. I never, ever thought that I had any special talent, that everybody could do what I could do. And I found out that that's not the case. You can make stuff that other people can't make.
That's right. That's right.
And if you can make something that other people can't make, you can sell that stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I told him, the first thing you got to make, you got to fix this piston rack, this plastic piston rack that caves in going down the road because it's plastic. Yep. We got to make this piston rack out of aluminum. So that was the first thing he made. And then there was all kinds of 5-disc and 6-disc clutch racks, but no 4-disc.
4-disc.
Okay, so we got to make a 4-disc rack. So we make the 4-disc rack, and I go, Case, we've got to make a 3-disc rack. The alcohol guys and nostalgia guys got 3 discs. We got to make that. So then I said, okay, we got to make this top dead center indicator deal to hold the indicator. And I go, I got this one here. It's Barnyard Engineering. And I show him all this barnyard engineering of stuff that I've made, and I said, this is where I went wrong. I never made this stuff for other people, and you have the talent and you have the resources to make this stuff. And so he makes all that stuff, and I can't take credit for everything, obviously, because he's come up with stuff like those wing hangers and some of the other stuff that he's come up with on his own, and because he's a smart kid,
very smart kid,
and he's a hard worker. I mean,
hard worker.
You know, I can kind of keep up with him, but I think maybe he lets me keep up with him.
So that tool for checking top dead center and then putting the dial indicator in to set your camshaft, I have that CGE that's cut into mine, Casey Gristle Enterprises, and it's the best tool I've ever had to do top dead center and to set my camshaft. It doesn't move. Zero comes around every time. You got to. Everything's based on where zero is. You can't measure an inch if you don't know where the hell you're starting.
Yep, you're right.
So zero is a really, really big freaking deal. And everything I had was this Rube Goldberg magnet stuck to this and 7 arms and down to here. And well, don't touch it, you know. And the spring pressure from the dial indicator was enough to tip it over. So you can't ever get the damn thing to repeat.
Yeah.
Well, and this is rock solid.
You ought to see the Barnyard Engineering model number 1. It's pretty rough.
But I use that thing all the time, setup motors all the time, and it's perfect every time.
We did the 2 little deals to check piston to valve.
I have those.
Yeah.
They're awesome. God, I don't know who came up. Was that you? Came up with that idea? Oh my God! So off of, you got to know may fuel fatheads crap, but off of a valve cover stud, okay, to have the right angle, and if you turn it to the light right, it's got the one of his laser water jet cut, but it says INT if you look in the right direction, and the other one EXH, so you know which is intake and which is exhaust. Put it on that valve cover stud and that valve cover stud, spin it around, and son of a bitch, if that dial indicator doesn't sit exactly on this teeny tiny little flat rim
spot, yeah,
of the retainer.
Yeah.
Oh my God, and it works. And it's you tighten that valve cover nut down, and that thing doesn't move.
No.
So you check valve to piston. I used it just this last weekend.
Yep.
That's when I came and told you that I have 190,000 over the exhaust and 10,000 on the intake.
Yeah.
That may not be right. So we moved it.
And in the old days, we did that with a chunk of clay.
Yes.
And a razor blade and a caliper.
I've done that too.
Very precise.
This is way better. This is way better.
Within 30 or 40 kilometers.
Yeah, things have changed. So he builds really nice stuff, and it makes your life exponentially easier.
Yeah.
Because it just works. So you can find zero. It actually comes back to zero each time because you got to measure 50 thousandths lift from what? Well, it's got to be the same every damn time. And that I've struggled with that over the years so much. But that tooling works awesome. It's just fantastic.
Have you ever seen that deal that he come up with to hold the crank bolt in place?
No. I don't know about that.
I have to show that to you. It's I told him what we needed to do, and a little while later, here he comes with all these pieces.
I remember hearing about it. I don't have it.
The one piece has got teeth on the outside, and it's got teeth on the inside. Teeth on the inside fit over the hex of the bolt.
Okay.
The teeth on the outside go into a piece that's got teeth on the inside, but on it are the 6 bolts that go through to the hub.
Okay.
So that piece, you have to get the crank bolt to the right perfect spot,
okay,
which is 360 foot-pounds normally.
Okay.
And then a little piece will slide over the hex on the bolt.
Yes.
And it'll slide into the teeth on the big piece.
Yes.
And the big piece is bolted to the hub.
Yes.
So that bolt cannot move.
This is a really big deal. That crankshaft bolt that we torqued to 350, I don't even have a torque wrench that big, but I borrowed one once. So I pulled it to 250 with my half-inch and then used my dad's from May Trucking that he borrowed for me. It was a big snap-on. And I pulled it to 350, and I checked how many flats it moved. And it was about a flat and a half is what it moved from 250. So now I don't need that big torque wrench. I use my 250, click, and we go another flat and a half, and it works every time.
Oh, I could believe that.
Yeah. The problem is that crank bolt is now behind the starter jaw and adapter, okay, through the balancer, into the degree wheel and crap, so you can't get to that crank bolt to check it without pulling all that crap off the front. And I hate pulling that stuff off. In fact, we make sure it's on all the time because it wants to fall off. It just it doesn't matter if you Loctite it, you can weld it. That sucker's coming off. You make a pass. These injected nitro motors can destroy a brand new anvil. It's unreal what they can do. Like, how the hell does that even do that? We don't know. Put nitro in the tank, and it happens.
Yeah. Crazy things go on in there.
Yeah, that none of us really understand. Anyway, this has been one of the greatest hour or twos. I don't even know how long we've been here. It's been one of the greatest times in my life. I told you before we did this how grateful I was to you for coming to chat with me, and I only feel that 1,000 times more now.
You know, I've said it for a long time. For so long, this is how long. When the ink is gone off the drag news and our trophies are sold at the swap meet, we still got the memories.
That's right.
And that's what we're going to end up with in the end. It's the memories.
That's right.
And that's why it's really important to make them.
Oh, damn right. Yeah. And I felt that way early, that I could see all those people in the grandstands that paid 30 or 40 bucks or more at a national event to watch us do what we're doing, to live vicariously, because they just couldn't do it for whatever reason in their life. And I decided at an early age, I'm not going to die of a damn heart attack at my desk selling a damn photocopier at and we have really good photocopiers, but it's just not the point. I want to do stuff to make a difference, to make my mark in this community, in this life somehow. And the friendships that you develop, the relationships that you develop, take that over. And we've got all these memories and cool stories that we've done, cool stuff I would have never been able to do if I hadn't met you. But we've got these memories and time slips and pictures of cool stuff we've done that changes who I am and provides value and meaning to why am I here, what am I doing. My model for my race team was great times with great people at 270 miles an hour. It's the people that you get to meet.
Yep.
I talked to you about that sticker that Joey had in his car that you said came from
Dwayne.
Dwayne. And I didn't know that. Talked to Joey, he said the same thing. I didn't know that. But apparently Dwayne Shields came up with this, but I saw it on Joey's car, and it said, enemies for 5 seconds and friends for life. And I've repeated that a lot because that's exactly the way it is. If we're staged against you in a race, I'm going to do everything I can to kick your ass. But the moment those cars cross the finish line, those parachutes come out, and they come to a stop, if you've won, I will take parts off of my car to put them on your car so that you can make that next round and win.
Yep.
And that's with passion.
I don't remember what year it was, but might have been about 86. Winter Nationals. We had lost first or second round, and Mike Troxel had won, I think, the semi, but he hurt that motor, and he had to make a motor change. And I went over there and I go, "You need any help?" "Oh, no, we got it covered." And so I watch him and I go, he ain't got it covered. So I jump in there and I start helping him, and this motor, it got it in the car, but it ain't got any lifters in it. We got to put lifters in it. The manifold's got to go on. So,
a lot of stuff.
and we got to get up there.
Yeah.
I'm riding on the header, adjusting the valves on the way to the staging lanes. We get to the staging lanes, put the valve covers on, and the spark plug's in it. And he goes out and he beats Bill Barney in the final.
Oh, my God.
And he never told me at the time, but on down the road he told me, if I wouldn't have won Pomona, I wouldn't have been able to go to Gainesville.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, if I wouldn't have gone to Gainesville, I wouldn't end up winning the world championship in '86.
My word.
He goes, and I've never told you this because I never knew how to thank you.
Oh, my word. That's awesome.
I said, well, just watching the wind light come on was thanks enough.
It's unbelievable. You ready for another one?
For sure.
I'm pouring you another one. If you got time, I got nowhere to be. I'm just concerned about you. Let me hook us up here. I know where this is.
I'm good with that.
Perfect.
Oh, shoot. I don't know. What else you got for pictures?
Oh, I got a bunch of those. Man, I'll tell you this. I remember every 2 years you had to go get your physical to get licensed.
Yeah.
And I drove for the first 14 years I owned my car. So you go get physical. I had all kinds of physical problems, but one of my best was my eyes worked. I had 20/10 vision. I could tell you the manufacturer of the chart on the bottom and the date that it was copyrighted until I didn't. So I go in this year to get physical, and I said, you guys are full of crap because you didn't pass the eye test. No, you're wrong. So I got awesome eyes. Got all kinds of other problems. My eyes are awesome. I made them test me on like 3 different machines, different charts, and I failed every one of them. And I thought, man, these guys are idiots. I don't know what's wrong. But about 2 weeks later, I'm realizing I'm not sure those guys are idiots. I can't see a damn thing anymore. It was horrible, and it only gets worse with age.
I tell you, my mom was 84. And she goes to the first DMV, and she can't pass the eye test. So she goes to the second DMV, can't pass the eye test. Goes to the third DMV, can't pass the eye test. Goes to the fourth DMV, passes the eye test.
Oh, my word. Are you serious? Oh, my God.
Took her 3 times to get that chart memorized. So
that's funny.
She got her driver's license at 84 and kept on driving.
Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
But that's the way people were in those days. They're kind of like our guys, overseas. You got to do what you got to do. She figured out how to get that license renewed.
That's really funny. I did not know that.
Yeah, 4 DMVs before she memorized that eye chart.
And your mama, rest her soul, she lived to be 100.
1 hour and 44 minutes.
Oh, my word.
Yep, she willed herself to that 100.
I remember that when it happened. Oh, my word. You've got a birthday coming up here in not many weeks.
Yeah, not too many. What's today? It's 15th. Yeah, about 3 weeks, I guess.
Okay.
Something like that.
And you want to share?
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to have lived this long.
Okay.
I'll be 79.
Yeah. But we had problems at Woodburn a few years
19.
ago. Yeah. That I hear, oh, crap, Jerry's down, Jerry's down. And it was hotter than Young Love, like it always is there. But, and Kim Parker and I somehow, I don't know how we got together, but you were in trouble and they hauled your buns to the hospital. And was it that VFib thing that you were fighting there?
Yeah, I didn't realize it. I just thought I was worn out. And Kim said, Kim's basically saved my bacon. She said, I went through this when I was doing the negotiating for our union deal. And she goes, I was stressed out and I went through this and she goes, you need to go to the hospital now.
Yeah.
I go, no, I'll be fine. I just need to lay here a while.
Yeah.
She goes, no, you're going.
Right.
So I went, and that's what I had was, I didn't have a fib. I had a flutter.
Oh.
And I guess there's a little bit of difference.
Your heart rate was just to the freaking moon.
Yeah, it was out of control, and I had a urinary tract infection because I wasn't drinking enough water. And I was worn out because we worked out there in the sun all day long when we had that broken lifter. And,
yes.
And I wasn't putting that thing back together till we found every damn one of those 19 needle bearings. Because in the Donovan, I had a needle bearing get in the oil pump, and it stopped the oil pump and sheared the shaft.
That's bad.
And so
nothing
that
good
thing
happens after that.
Was not going back together until I found all 19 of those needle bearings.
Wow.
So yeah.
It seemed to me, my memory is that Deb hadn't come to that race.
She didn't. No.
So you're in the hospital, and between Kim and I, we kind of had vigil there to make sure you were covering okay. And there were so many people that want to know how you were doing. And I had my Facebook stuff for our race that we'd done, and so I would put posts out on that, and the our viewership was like nothing. And then Gary's in the hospital. Holy shit! Everybody wants to know. And then after he's home, it goes back to nothing. But it was incredible.
Gary Bateman came there quite a bit too to give me a bad time to make sure I was doing better. But yeah, I went through that, and then I went through that three more times with the damn vaccine.
Yes.
I had 150 beats a minute heartbeat for a while, and they had to shock it back down. And finally, I shocked it 3 more times, and then it ended up doing that, what do they call that? They go in there and they do a little cauterizing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It'll come to me what they call it. I didn't want to do it. I go, how can you see what you're welding on in there? And they go up through your vein and in your thigh, and they went up the wrong side to start with. And
really?
They go, oh, this ain't the side. So they go up the other side and welded her up in there and called it good, and it's been fine ever since.
It's funny because I had that first vaccine. I didn't get any more, but I had that first one. It was a big deal. And then down the road, I started having that flutter thing and VFib. So Robbie buys me this thing for Christmas. It's an app on your phone. You put your thumbs on this thing, and it says, you're screwed. Your heart rate's all jacked. You need to go see your cardiologist. So they put you on drugs, and it kind of helps till it didn't. Yeah. And then he said, well, the next step is they have a name for it that doesn't sound so intimidating, but they shock the crap out of you. And so I went in the hospital to do that. Robbie went with me, and she's in the room with him, and she was mad at the doctor because he didn't tell her when he was going to do it, because she wanted to video it, because apparently I jumped off the bed about 1.5 feet. She said, damn, I would have recorded that if you told me you were going to do it then. She was really wound up at the doc.
Wow.
But that mostly, I'm still on meds. So I take this flecainide crap to keep it in check, because if I don't, it goes bonkers. I had zero problem with this crap before. None.
Yeah. Well, I got the Apple Watch that does the beats per minute, and it stays pretty good now. I mean, 80's pretty high for me.
Oh, that's good, though.
Most of the time it's 50, 60.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's something they don't know about you, is your Red Cross connection. Tell them that story, because I know that story.
Well,
you're a legend at Red Cross.
Maglisi, when he was a kid in high school, senior in high school, he was working for a guy, and the guy was running a chainsaw, and the chainsaw kicked back, and he flung it over his shoulder, and he sliced his shoulder open.
No. Oh, wow.
And he needed blood.
Yeah.
And so Tony signed up to give him blood. And so then Tony gave blood from his time in the Air Force and off and on. And so he started giving every 56 days. And he had given a lot. I don't know how much. He swore over 30 gallons.
Oh, my word. Wow.
So I started going with him, and then when he passed away, but we decided one day we'd find out who held the record for the most blood. Well, Guinness doesn't keep track of that because for whatever reason they said we don't keep track of that. Huh. So every time we go to the Red Cross, he'd ask, well, who do you got here that's given the most blood? Well, turns out there's this gal that's given more than Tony.
Oh, wow.
She's a little older than him, but she's given more. So he arranged to go meet her. So Tony walks up, and she's on her front porch in her little rocking chair, and she goes, "Hi, you must be number 2, looking for number 1. And so they became really good friends, and turns out that what happened with her is her sister was in a car wreck, and her sister needed blood, so she started giving blood. And so she continued to give blood at, every 56 days, same as Tony. But she told him, she goes, "You're not going to catch up to me till I die."
Right.
So I got going with Tony, and we'd go every 56 days.
When did this start? How long ago did this start?
Oh, shoot. I started giving blood when I was a kid in college.
Oh, wow.
Because it was $25 a pint.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I was on the right schedule because I had Memorial Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving. All the times when people were crashing and needed blood, I was on the right cycle. So I'm giving blood to keep my hot rod going, $25 a pint. I'll tell you how bad I was. I was giving blood under another guy's name.
Oh, you're kidding.
They'd mail him the check, and he'd cash it and give me the money.
Wow.
So that's when I started, and then with Tony, I started going every 56 days with him, and I was over 15 gallons when I went through the crap, and I was on the Eliquis, the blood thinner, and I couldn't give, and that, and I got a little kidney function that's not up to par, and I kind of wonder if, since I haven't given blood in so long, if that's got anything to do with anything, because you get rid of a pint of that contaminated blood and you make yourself a nice fresh pint. That's got to make it a little easier for the kidneys to filter that.
I hadn't thought of that.
And so I don't know. I bounced that off my doctor, and I got the deer in the headlights look from the doctor. So I don't know where that's going to go. But I started giving blood again, not at Red Cross because we don't have one, but at Vitalant.
I see.
And they probably sell it. I don't know what they do. Red Cross donates it, but whatever. It doesn't matter. In 56 days, I got another pint coming, so I just started over on that deal again.
So that's what they figure it takes you to replace that pint is 56 days?
Yeah.
Wow, I wonder how they figured that out.
Yeah. I mean, I yet to see a dipstick in a heart.
Right.
So I don't know where that come from, but that's the rule. 56 days.
Crap. That's crazy. Well, that's a facet of you that most people probably wouldn't know, but that you've been a huge contributor to giving blood.
They say that the pint can save up to 3 lives.
Really? I hadn't heard that. Oh, be darned.
So, I mean, I don't know how true that is. I mean, I know when my mom got her knees done, she had to pre-donate her own blood. So they'd give it back to her during the operation.
Right. I'll be darned.
So, and she did that. So it's pretty important stuff, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And it's another thing. I mean, it can't hurt me. Yeah. And if it can help 3 people, it takes me less than an hour to do it, and I get a couple of free snacks. So, it's a win-win.
There you go.
They want you to sit down and sit there for 15 minutes and have some snacks and some drinks. So, You know, you get away from the rest of the world for a little over an hour.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's a win-win.
There you go. You have raced out of the biggest and fanciest and most well-equipped trailers in the world, and you've raced out of a hillbilly trailer that hauled a fuel car a long ways to a race and hit a skunk on the way, as I recall.
Hit a skunk. Yeah. We're going through Kansas and hit that skunk. God, that thing stunk. And I told Casey, I go, man, we got to find some pizza. I go, look on your phone, see if there's a pizza joint on Main Street up here at this next town. And he looks on there and he goes, yeah, there's a Pizza Hut on Main Street. Perfect. He goes, how did you know that? I go, there's a pizza joint on every Main Street. So we stopped and had pizza with our skunk stinking car.
That stuff is so hard to get off of anything.
Oh, it stained that paint, that white paint. It stained it.
Really?
Oh yeah. It discolored it. It was like a tannish, brownish, ugly stain on that white car.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was a trip. That whole deal was a trip. We get rained on. We're parked under an overpass so the car don't get rained on. We sat there till it quit raining.
Because I'm going to pull a picture of that trailer. It's an open trailer.
Yeah.
It's just really long, but it's just a damn car hauling trailer. It's just really long.
34 feet.
That's holding a fuel car. I got to pull that up. God, that's funny. Oh my gosh, I found those. I'm out of breath. That's so
We
funny.
built that thing out of trash. Junkyard Eddie gave me a couple of axles out from under an old camp trailer, and Meadows got a bunch of plywood off a job, and we cobbled this thing together just to get to T&E to get our new one, and we left it behind. And 2 years later, I get a call from a guy. Mind if I put my international panel wagon on your trailer and bring it to California?
Really?
I go, no, go right ahead. So he
God,
drug it
that's
out
funny.
there. I met him in Fontana and got it back. And then I made it really nice, and we used it for our in-and-out display car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it made it real easy to whip that around.
Oh, sure.
We took it out to the fair, the LA County Fair, and all kinds of all the store openings. Guy would have me bring it to a store opening, and we
Right.
brought it to the company picnic, and it just made it really easy to do, other than try to haul it in the big trailer with the top kick.
Right.
And we could haul it with my little short bed, and you could whip anywhere with it, and take the ramps out and unload it, and away you go.
I don't know how, the A-fuel cars are so low to the ground. We have a hell of a time getting it out of my trailer. It's you got to do it just right. I don't know how you can get it off of that trailer without scraping everything. We break every zip tie on the bottom of the chassis, holding the cables in place.
I got 12-foot ramps.
That's how. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I jacked the front all the way up, and then blocked the tires, and then use those 12-foot ramps.
Yeah.
And I got a battery and a winch, and roll that thing
God,
right
that's
on
funny.
there.
That's so funny. Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh crap, yeah.
I just loaned that trailer to Brad Hordeman. He's picking up a car from Tri-Cities for Danny
Okay.
Patridge.
So just random stuff I come across from your world.
Yeah.
So I thought that was so funny. I saw that in one of your trailers. Don't try to explain yourself to stupid people. You're not the jackass whisperer. Very funny.
Yeah, I don't remember who gave me that.
That's funny.
I got another one that says, people seem to think I have a short temper, but I just really have no tolerance for ignorance.
There's you and
Big Mike.
Mike. In fact, he's down in Northern California. I went down there to get that block and picked it up from him.
Gunsmere.
Yeah. Super nice guy. But anyway, got a really nice block until we destroyed it and turned it into something less than that. But it's in my car now. It still runs. It's just not what it used to be.
Mike started helping me when Celty was driving.
Is that right? That goes back a long
And
ways.
before that, he worked for Ray Zeller at Downey, Ray Engineering and Downey Service Center.
Oh.
He did my Donovan heads for me. on the alcohol car back then.
Huh. I'll be darned. So that car ran really well.
That's the one I built for Ashley, strictly for Ashley.
Yeah.
In 2005, we started running it in 2006. One Gainesville and one Atlanta with that car.
Yeah, that's a good
And
car.
That's when John called me into Bernie's office and told me our performance was lacking a little bit. And
I didn't hear that.
That's when he came out and apologized.
Oh.
told me Bernie told him if he talked like that to him, he'd quit.
Okay. This is a video clip. I'm not sure what it is. So this
What do you think that is?
2015?
That's probably when we won that.
I think so. I think so. I think that's exactly what it
Is
is.
that the final?
I think so.
Garrett's in the other lane.
Yes.
He's going to leave here in a minute.
Yeah, he gets the yips. Nope, that's a symbol.
Scoreboard's a long ways away.
Long ways away.
269.
269, that's not too shabby. That's cool. Crap. That's so cool. That's really cool. You and Jay Payne.
Yeah.
Jay's a good guy.
I've known Jay since, I don't know, about 67.
Really.
He had an El Camino that he raced the brackets with at Irwindale.
Really funny guy. He talks real fast and in short bursts until Shelley tells him he can't or wants something. That's a unique relationship, but it's a hoot. It's a lot of fun.
I forget. Oh, it was Garrett that was telling us. He's funny. I didn't realize.
Garrett's very funny.
I didn't realize he was such a comedian.
Oh,
but,
he's hilarious.
I guess Jay said to Dennis Taylor, he goes, "You still got Victor working for you?" and Dennis says, "You still married to Shelley?" and then Dennis says, "I can fire Victor."
That's right. Right. Exactly. It's a different world. Yeah, they're with the Wally with Megan.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. Good times. All the crap we do. That's so cool. Then we had a really good year in 2019 that I can't seem to get back to. But with I've got Tyson driving now. His dad, Russ, drove for me in 2019. And crap, the car ran really well. Did really well. Went to the final at the national event. Got my ass kicked by Cowie, but not by much. But it was enough that he won. But crap, the car ran really well. We went 540 with a 0 twice in a row, Q3 and E1. Never ran another 40 or slower all year long. Every lap after that was a 30 or a 20. Can't get back to that to save my life now. Everything's changed. There's so much different crap now.
Yeah.
It's just, well, go put the stuff. You got the tune-up, don't you? Yeah, but none of the parts are the same. It's not the same.
You know what does that? It's when you have a little bit of extra funding. You buy stuff instead of making what you got work.
Oh, crap.
I've learned that the kind of the hard way. You go, oh, I need the latest hot trick deal here. And then you're trying to make that work, and you change 14 other things to make that work. And, and now you went from lost to being really, really, really lost. and if you were poor, you'd make what you got work, and it would run like it used to run.
Wow, that's fascinating.
I go through that now and then. I go, okay, time out. How much stuff do I got to change back?
That year, this gets a little technical. That may not make sense to everybody, but we were 500 to 525 grams on the clutch all the time. I never thought a thing about it. Didn't take tire off, so what do I care? Well, it seemed a little heavy, but it worked. I mean, it worked really well. So we had this great year, and the last pass on the car was 528 with a 6 at Woodburn. Okay. What's wrong with that? The car runs at 20, runs great. So now we go into COVID, though, 2020, okay? And so you send the clutch back to get restarted. You got to send it back every year. And when I send it back, I've told you the story, you remember it, but I get it back from Roger Levine at Crowder. He's a really good guy, known him forever and ever. always tells me how busy he is, but he spends an hour and a half on the phone with me to tell me how busy he is and doesn't have time for anything. Like, hey, Raj, just a thought. But he's a really, really good guy. Anyway, so it sends my crap back, and it's got the cert on it, and he's got to make room to write the new date on it because he's got so many dates around this pressure plate. There's no room for the latest one. Every slot has got 3 different dates. Anyway, I get back, take it all apart, and the arms, it's all centrifugal, so it's all based on how much weight is on these arms that applies the plate load. But I look on the bottom of the arm, it's got this a crescent moon shape groove in the bottom of the arm. It shouldn't have anything on the bottom of the arm. I go, Raj, how do you do this? He goes, the only way that's possible is if you've got the button shimmed up too high. So what happened was, every year I get this thing back, and you put it together, and you got a couple, 2 or 3 loose arms. So you shim them up, 5 thou, 10 thou, whatever it takes to shim them up. You send it off next year, you get back 2 or 3 loose arms. You do that for a year or two, it's no big deal. You do that for about 15 years, and pretty soon, all those arms are way the hell up there, which is why it took so much weight to get up on that radius to do anything.
Yeah.
So I go, this is going to be perfect. I'm going to take all the shims back out, and I did. I took everything back out, zeroed off the deck, put 75 thousandths off the deck where it's supposed to be. It's perfect. I think I had 3 buttons that had 3 to 5 thousand shim. I go, this is perfection. We're going to last. We never made it 2 feet for about 20 laps because it has so much clutch now that it hadn't had before, and I didn't understand how that worked. I'll just blaze the tires. I finally had to tell Russ, just drag the brake. It's got to get this thing going, and that worked, but it's not really the way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to figure that out. And then you're down to 420 or 430 grams, and works over 50 or whatever, but it was way less weight because the arms are where they're supposed to be. But it didn't matter. It worked fine, worked great. You just worked with what you had, and it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you fix it, and you're behind the 8 ball for a while.
Screwed for a long time. Yes, exactly. It's just nuts how hard this stuff is.
I've watched that with people. They end up with a real nice sponsorship, and then they don't run very well for quite some time.
Wow, that's
because
fascinating.
You buy stuff you don't need, and because it's there, because somebody else has got it.
That is something I can testify to Mr. Darien does not do. So every time I call him and say, oh my God, you hear about the latest whatever is cool. And he goes, yeah, and why do I need that? Like, well, it's because it's really freaking cool. And he never changed. He didn't change anything. But his crap would run good because you work with the same stuff all the time, figure it out.
Yeah.
We've talked about, this is a buddy of mine that lives in Albany, and that's a blown fuel altered. It's a lot of fun. It's a hoot. And I've said someday before I'm done, I want to do one of those. I just think blown fuel is pretty damn cool. You see that that nostalgia funny car that was at Woodburn this weekend with us, Bynum?
Bynum?
Yeah, nice guy, really good guy.
Yeah, he came to the races with Casey and I. His dad used to work for Velasco.
Really?
Yeah.
Henry Velasco is king of crankshafts. What is it, about 132 years old now? I mean, he's not a kid.
He's pushing 90.
Yeah, but he's brilliant. I send my crankshafts down. I try to hurry up and get him down there because every time I call, I'm afraid he's not going to answer the phone. But so far, so good.
Matt's dad worked for Henry, and he passed away at a fairly early age. And we took Matt with us when we ran Casey's nostalgia car in Phoenix.
Really?
Back in about 2010. But we had this problem where we weren't done yet, and he was already in the ice chest. And so we had a little discrepancy on that.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to come with us anymore, which was fine. Has that thing got a fat head in it?
Yes.
Blown on fuel.
Yeah.
There's some guys that just come and bought some headers from me that have a fat head, fuel altered, blown on fuel. He said the pistons are flat top and they're 240 down.
Wow.
He said that's what we had to do to get the compression down.
Right, toward
the
live.
fat head, yeah. Because of the 94 cc chamber versus a late model with a 174 chamber.
Right. Yeah. So with the injected fuel motors that we have, the only way to get them run is you run the compression up because we don't have any forced induction.
Yep.
So no belt-driven intake manifold for us. So we run the compression up, and the fat heads allow us to do that because the chamber's really small, 94 cc's when everything's brand new. Mine haven't been that for a while, but that's what they used to be. So you just adjust the head gasket. But those darn things, once you put blown fuel in them, you got to have somewhere for that crap to go, or it's going to make its own room and come out the side. It's nasty stuff. So most people use the fuel heads that are way bigger chamber, but some people make it work with the fat heads. But you got to move piston way down so this crap don't tear itself up. Anyway, that's a really cool car. It's a lot of fun. He's a really nice guy.
You know, Brad tried to run fatheads on Shelley's top fuel car.
No, are you serious?
Yeah, and that's where those rockers came from.
I do remember that.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
I got that set of rockers for Brad.
I can distinctly remember being up at Seattle, and my stuff had the Brad single-ribbed exhaust rockers on them. And opening that exhaust valve is really hard because you're opening the valve into expanding gases. Everything's gone kaboom, and so the cylinder pressure is just to the frickin' moon. And now we want to open that exhaust valve, and as soon as you can crack it open and it relieves the pressure, it's fine. But to get that thing to snap open takes a lot of strength. Oh, look at you go. Those are intake. Yep, those. That's what I want right there. Perfect. So those are the doubles. Is there any single rib over there? Do I not have? Maybe I don't even have those left. But anyway, so the rockers that I had at the time were a single ribbed, as opposed to, you can see this has got a double rib, and it's way stronger. So I went over to Jerry's pit and I saw he had these rockers on. That's it. That's it. See, that's what I had.
Yeah.
This is what Jerry had. And what it would do is it would crack these right across the top of that rib right there, and it just bend that some bitch straight up here, and it wouldn't matter how hard you pushed down, it wasn't going to open that valve. So I saw that Jerry had these on it, and I go, crap, where'd you get those? And he goes, oh, they're Brad. But you went up into the rafters or something from Shelley's old top fuel car.
That's where they came from to start with.
Yeah.
Then he started making them over.
And so mere mortals could buy them, and and they work really well. These things work great.
We still got them. That's all we got.
Yeah, they work really well. But man, things have just changed from the small 5/16 adjusters now to the big 3/8 stuff, and there's just so many differences now.
Push rods.
God, trying to make stuff live.
I went up to Canada, and I bought this fuel altered thing from a guy up there.
Remember that? Because you wanted the rear end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rear end has gone to Sweden.
Yeah.
And a guy bought the car, and he's putting a blown Chevy in it to run. I don't know.
Alcohol or fuel?
That blown alcohol thunder thing, I guess.
Okay.
That's what he's going to do. And I was going to show you a picture of that. I really kind of wanted to keep the thing.
It was a cool looking car.
Yeah.
It really was.
And I really had visions of doing the fuel altered thing, because that's something I'd like to do in my lifetime.
But you want to do injected, right? Not blown?
Right.
Yeah, you want to do an A fuel motor and an altered. Yeah, that. I remember seeing that. I've got a picture of that. But for the purpose of this, hold that there and let Sean zoom in on that and get a good shot of that. But that was a cool looking car.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I think it was a 92 Swindle.
Really? Wow.
When I got the rear end out of it, the plates said Al Swindle Race Cars 1992.
Wow.
So if that indeed was the case, then that's where that car started life.
Wow. Swindle's been gone a long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And 92, I mean, that's 32 years ago.
Yeah.
But that thing just looked, it just had the cool look to it.
Yes, it did. What was the body?
So a Bantam.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Fiat.
See, this is cool.
That's Englishtown.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So Courtney here, I assume Brittany's in the Sanya car, Courtney's in Brown Source car, is that right?
Nope.
The other way around?
Vice versa, yeah.
Okay. And do you know what round this is?
I think we went to the final with Brett, so that must have been second round.
Okay.
I think we raced Fink, and Fink won.
Really?
And the semi turned into the final because Koski threw the rods out.
Yeah.
And I don't remember. So we would have had a single, and for some reason, Fink would have had a single. So we turned the semi into the final.
That makes sense, yeah.
And Fink beat us.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
His stuff runs really well. He's got no shortage of funding either, I hear.
Yeah. I understand he's got about $100,000 a month to throw at that race car.
See, I don't have that problem myself.
Yeah.
At all.
I don't know how I would handle that problem.
Right. It's nuts. Just nuts.
Yeah, see, that's the Ashley car with the short nose, and that's the other car with the tall nose.
With the tall nose. And that's the car that you and Casey run now?
No,
that's a different car.
that's a different car. That's the one that Ashley originally drove, and that's the one that Court threw the tire off of when we run over that starter dog.
Yes.
So that's in Forces Museum in Indy.
Oh, that's right.
We had to put it back like it was when we won Indy in 2004. So it's got all that same decals and stuff on it.
That's cool. That is 2017 in Seattle, and we were against you. You guys were nailed the lane, and we had some traction problems.
Yeah, we all did.
Until we didn't, which was about the time he stepped down again on it right here, and it picked the front end up. That's as high as my car's ever been, and we made it. It came down and didn't hurt it. And that's stunning because that's up there a ways, and it didn't hurt it. And you wonder where's the wheelie bar? Well, it's back there, but I don't know how it all works. But it's up on the tire at that point, so it's not squatting. I don't know. I just know I was thankful to get my car back and wasn't sure I was gonna.
Yeah, in one piece.
Yeah, we did not get the winning time slip on that deal though. You guys did, and he didn't do anything wrong. He's just pedaling it, trying to get it to go and hook up, and it wouldn't. I don't know why we had so much traction problems that time, but we sure did. That sucked. See what this is. That sounds like an alcohol burning part slinger. Is that what you call them? Oh yeah, that's Joey. Shit, that's Joey right there. Up in Seattle. Man, we've done this a long time. Holy crap, I've done this a long time. Good Lord. Teaching people how to drive when you've got an A-fuel car in the other lane or you got an alcohol car in the other lane. I would always teach them, if you got an alcohol car in the other lane, they're going to blip the throttle a few times. They're going to find out if their air gap's set in the clutch right. So, but don't buy any of that crap. When both your pre-stage lights are on, make them commit. That's what it says. Make them commit. When that motor comes up and it stays up there, they're committed. They're going in, and you need to be ready. But make them commit. Don't get dicked around.
We used to race Arthur a lot.
Really?
Back in 2004. I'd tell Ash, roll that thing in like both bulbs. Because he always wanted to put the top bulb out because he couldn't saw the tree down with two chainsaws. And if he couldn't put it in deep, he couldn't cut a light. So if she put it in and lit both bulbs, he didn't have time.
Oh, my
put
word.
it in deep, and she'd leave on him.
Oh, that's
every
hilarious.
time.
I love that. I'm going to tell you an Arthur story here in just a minute. I have no idea how this ends, but it's probably not good for us. Yeah, we can get ask it. Joey's car runs pretty well, and it has since he got help. His car didn't used to run. I don't know what that is. His car didn't used to run well, but he got some help from the J&S.
No, he's not been sterling lately.
No, that's true. But they still got a lot of help that most mirror modals don't get.
Yeah.
To get to where they are. His dad works his tail off just like you do, though. It's all he ever does. He works really hard.
That's a nice looking car.
It is, and they just built it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do really. I guess he pulled Brad out of retirement to help him work on that.
Really?
That's what I was told.
Huh.
Yeah, Brad Hadman, former car builder, but in fact, he was the last one to work on my car to get it sorted out back in 2016. So yeah, he's really talented. But everybody started building their own stuff, and didn't want to buy his, especially in the top fuel world. They just built their own crap anymore. They don't have chassis builders that do this.
According to Mitch flew him over to Hermiston to straighten his car out.
Really?
But it didn't look real straightened out to me.
No. But Mitch went testing it in Seattle and did well on one pass, burnt the heads off of it. But
Took 2 heads off this week too.
did he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, I didn't hear a darn thing. It's hard to push the heads off when it's that damn hot. When we were at the opener and the corrected altitude was 0, freaking sea level below the static altitude, that's hard to keep the heads on.
Yeah.
I really struggle with it. If the air's that good, I struggle. You can't get it tuned down enough where it doesn't want to push damn heads off.
It's harder to tune them down than it is to hop them up.
Yes.
I found 2 degrees up is a lot. 2 degrees down ain't nothing.
That's right. Oh my gosh. It's a race pack deal here. Motor and drive shaft. I don't know what I put this up for, but man, that's a nice motor. I can't get mine to do that now to save my life.
Yeah, mine's down here in the pea patch.
Yeah, exactly. fact, I just opened it earlier because Sean got it over to my computer. Do you want to see what a hideous raceback file looks like? I can show you. Come on. File. And yeah, pick one, Q1, Q2, it don't matter. It was just hotter than young love out there, though. God, what was the corrected altitude on that second hit? Close to 3,000, wasn't it?
Yeah, right at 3,000.
Crap, and it was just so stinking hot. It's really hard to get these things to run well when it's that warm. But there's what my car revved up to. Whoops, goddamn, you guys are getting the inside scoop here because I don't normally show this stuff, and Jerry knows what he's looking at on everything. So yeah, we revved all the way up to 4185. Put your hands together.
That's pretty good.
But look at the tire. Let me change the color here so it's easier to see. There's what the tire did. Oh, bitch, that almost took tire off.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Because it stayed on?
No, I'd like to see that. Mine's normally down here somewhere, and this is down here under that.
Under 4,000?
Yeah,
that's not good. Yeah, this was not optimal at all. And it did not go fast.
What's that got for fuel flow there?
A lot. You want to see it at 5,000? Where it matters? It's got a lot. We all talk about fuel volume, and it's kind of based on where it is at 5,000 RPM. And in fact, there's 5,000 or close. 2805. Told you.
Yeah, we're about 26.
Yeah. I just couldn't get it to want that much fuel. Big shock, right?
Yeah.
But 1, 3, 5, 7. This is the EGTs. Okay, we got a little bobble going on, but it didn't go out. But it wasn't for lack of effort. 2, 4, 6, 8. Now I lose one way out here, but it's not just a whole dropping bitch. It did okay, but it's all bobbling in here. And we took compression up between race number 1 and number 2. I pinched the head gaskets, both of them. So once I rolled that cam back a little bit, I had more than 10 thousandths of clearance between the intake valve and the piston. I could get away with it. We had 90 on both sides. Well, hell's bells. We can pinch this bitch right down. And we did.
Yeah.
And it made a huge difference. We went quite a bit slower then. But it was so stinking hot. I don't know how John Fink got that car to run that well. But I don't know. You must know something I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he runs that different than most people. I mean, I know how he does it. He does it on low compression, a lot of fuel. But I don't know how you do that.
Low compression. See, that's what I did in 2019. My compression was low, and I ran a lot of mag. I
don't know if he does a lot of mag or not. I just know he runs a lot of fuel.
Over 28? You're talking 29-gallon deal?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, then the theory is you try to make up for the static compression with fuel because you can't compress the fuel, so there's your compression. Put a lot of fuel in, get your compression back up, and it'll burn it. That's the theory I've been told.
The other theory is the longer you wait to light it, the more compressed it is, the better chance you stand of it going off.
Right.
And I don't know how that works yet either.
I don't either, because I've heard the same thing. But so in 2019, I ran as much as 70 degrees of lead. I never ran 71, but I ran 70 degrees of lead. I was always really scared, like, when does that intake valve close and open here? So you really didn't want to light it with that valve open very bad.
On that old cam, it was still open at 70.
Yeah. Thankfully, we don't have those cams anymore. Crap. I can remember Oh my gosh, it must have been 2003 is when Garrett drove, and we went to Sonoma and went to the final round. And we just had the old dually. It was relatively new back then, and the 45-foot Hallmark. And we're hauling buns down to Sonoma, just dumber than a sack of hammers. You just don't know what you don't know. And we go through Redding, the hills of Shasta down into Redding, and it's 115 degrees. And it's just blazing hot. And do you slow down at all? Hell no, because we're going racing, damn it. So you haul ass to get to the racetrack. Well, crap. You start throwing tires off that trailer pretty quickly at a high rate of speed. Those are not designed to do that. And back then, I didn't understand that the tread depth on the tire was not near as relevant as the age of the tire. And I'd bought all these old tires that had a bunch of tread on them, and they're completely worthless because once they age out, they're just junk. But they had a lot of tread. Well, that's more tread to throw off and tear the fenders off your trailer. So Robbie and I were on the side of I-5 changing a trailer tire, of course, on the freeway side, not the other side, of course. And the only place I had room for a spare, I had Hallmark build me a spare tire compartment that was underneath the race car, right underneath the motor of the race car.
Oh, of course.
So to get to it, man, you had to take the race car out, or you had to jack it about 7 foot in the air in the back, so you get that cabinet open, get the spare tire out. I wouldn't do that today for $1 million, but back then you're just young and dumb and stupid. And so we throw that tire on, and then here goes a top fuel rig. It was one of the leakers, but top fuel truck and going by us, and they pass us. That well, hell, they can't do that. We're going to show them. When I got into the I don't remember the name of the town there where the racetrack is, but whatever it is, we had like 3 tires on the trailer that were still on. The rest of them are gone, and I don't know how we were able to come in with any, but we spent a lot of money on tires there in that town trying to get it glued back together. I don't do that anymore.
My first Chaparral was a 32-footer, and it was a tire fling. It was a 2-axle.
Oh gosh,
two-axle Chaparral.
Yeah,
it was a tire flinger.
And they just tear the crap out of everything when that tread comes off.
Oh yeah.
But we went to that Sonoma race. That's when Hitchman ran a car up the hill and destroyed it. You remember that? Darrell Hitchman?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had, this is 03 with Garrett, and 04 is where that happened. And I was driving Sonoma. Yeah, yep, that's 04 when I was driving. Because I had just made a run. Russ was down there helping me crew. And we ran 34 or something. We ran reasonably well. So we're down there, saying, hey, we did a good job. And then the next thing you know, Darrell Hitchman goes by to qualify and doesn't quite make the shut off. And I don't know what happened, but that's his car piled up there at the top of that hill. And they're dragging him out, and he's going the wrong direction too at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
That's off the end.
Yeah. Past the sand trap crap, past the net.
Yeah.
How do you do that? I don't know. But, I mean, he couldn't have had any chutes to make it that far.
Or brakes.
Right. I'll show you.
Because that's all uphill, too.
I know. It's all uphill there. What the hell? I don't know how you did that. But
Casey built a chute lever.
Yeah.
And he's got a tall one and a short one. And the tall one, he can reach and flip out one chute.
Okay.
The short lever's got a little tab on it, and it's hooked to the bimba valve.
The safety stuff, yep.
So if the safety deal flips them out, it flings them both out.
Right.
But if he's fast enough to shut the safety box off and lob one chute out, then we only got one chute out.
One chute back.
Yeah.
That's cool.
and tear one up,
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, because the pilots don't live where the dam, they bounce along and they tear themselves up.
Destroy it. Absolutely.
It's a lot more economical to just use one. And I'll tell you who
funny.
the master of that is Doug Coletta.
Really?
He's really good at one chute.
In a top fuel car, 330-mile-an-hour car.
Yep.
No kidding.
Yep.
So, well, anyway, Darrell got to go home with half his race car. And that's all that was left of it. But look at all the pneumatic timers and crap. Remember all that?
That thing had the little front wheels on it, the little airplane front wheels.
Oh, really? Did he still have that? I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did.
I did not remember that. Well, I can't see the front wheels are all gone here, but he made it. There's he is. He was fine.
Yeah.
His race car, not so much. We got 2 fuel lines back to it. Look at
That
that.
must have been a fuel car then.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fuel. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And all the timers and Bimba shit that we had to make all that crap work.
I had all that. I had those 10 high speeds on there. Had to buy 10 30s, 10 40s, 10 50s, 10 60s. I don't have no idea why, but I had 10 of every jet.
What a pain in the butt. They're just hideous. So we go to to Pomona. Oh yeah. Here we go. Here we go. So we about got kicked out. Can you see the problem there at all?
Oh,
Yeah. Both chutes are still packed, and it wasn't the driver's fault because the pins were still in. I don't know how the starting line people didn't catch it, but they didn't. But driver actually did a good job then because he got it stopped. Now, those carbon fiber brakes are stunning. Check this out. This is a camera that we had on the car that was pointing straight down. You could see both rotors.
oh yeah.
Glowing red, but they work. You know how many cars end up in the sand and the kitty litter down at Pomona? A lot. I was stunned that mine wasn't one of them. And it wasn't for lack of effort. But that's just an incredible picture there.
Melanie stopped that thing from 316 with no chutes at Pomona.
You're kidding. Really? I didn't hear that. No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little better than 265 or whatever we did there. Wow. Pomona is short. Yeah. These racetracks were built, some of them 50 years ago or more, for top fuel cars that weighed then 1,500, 1,700 pounds.
1,400, yeah.
Okay, and went
200.
And it didn't take as much to stop them. Now you get a car that is 2,200 pounds. What's top fuel car?
23, yeah.
23?
Yeah.
Well, we're 22 and a quarter. And they're going 335, and so just the physics of stopping the damn thing is just astronomically more difficult.
On my front motor car, I had 10-foot chutes, nice and light. My junior fuel car weighed 900 pounds.
Wow.
It didn't weigh hardly
Never
anything.
heard of that. Wow.
And so we did the rear engine car. We put the 10-foot chutes on it. Well, it's all fine and dandy till we put the Whipple on it.
Oh.
And then with all the other things, because the first car was 1,700 pounds. Well, then it grew.
Yeah. Cars don't get lighter; they get heavier.
21,
and put more crap on them.
And with the Whipple on it, those 10-foot chutes weren't enough.
Wow.
So we ended up going to 12-footers,
right.
which we needed. But
right.
I mean, I've always tried to be fairly close on the weight.
Oh, sure.
Because I mean, people go, oh yeah, in a fuel car it doesn't matter. The weight makes them burn the fuel. Well, bottom line is, you don't think weight matters? Try giving an elephant a piggyback ride. You'll soon see that weight matters.
Yeah, you got to pack it all the way down the track.
Yeah.
Crazy.
They say
stuff.
if you throw it up in the air and it comes down, it's too heavy.
It's too heavy. Right. Do you remember when I first got my car, finally was able to pay everything off, and I got the motor and the chassis? So I had the chassis up here as a roller for a long time, so I couldn't pay for the rest of it, and I finally paid for it. We went down. Jay Kinney came with me, and we were out back of the nut and bolt business, specialty fastener.
Out in the alley?
Out in the alley, and putting that motor in. And God bless him, Jay. He's come a long way since then. He's got his own car and quite successful now, a nostalgia car. But he was tightening one of the jumper lines from the fuel rail over to the down nozzle, and he over-tightened it and broke the nut. And you went and got another one and charged me for it. I had to pay for it. We weren't real great friends then. But before we left, we lit that car. And it ran on nitro just like it's supposed to. Like, cool, we got to complete that fuel car. Load that sumbitch up, and we're going to head for Oregon. I'd found a guy to do the clutch in the car who I didn't know at the time, but he loved the dragster until you started it. Once you started it, he was scared to death of it, and he would start backing up. And she'd look around and go, where the hell is he? About 2 pits over that way if it's running. If it's not running, he's right here, but just scared the crap out of him. Huh. Well, I had to pay to get you guys up here, pay at the time to get Clutch Boy up here, just doing your clutch at that time, to train my clutch guy, who ended up never making it to any races ever. So I lost everything that I tried to do. But the first time I stepped down on the throttle in my now, to me, new car, we didn't make it half a second, and it spit the ring gear teeth off the rear end gear. So you leaned against my trend and said, well, if you get a set of gears, let me know. We'll keep working on this thing. And I worked and worked and worked. And Ron Higley, now a friend of mine up here, he had a set of 9.5-inch gears. And we went and got them. We put it together. We were there the next day with that thing to run that car.
I remember that.
That was hard stuff and hard to pay your dues. That's really hard stuff.
You know, and you got to pay dues. You know, there's just no getting around it.
No.
I mean, you can have all the money in the world, and you still got to pay some dues.
Yep. We've seen a lot of people come and go.
Yeah.
That we're going to make a big mark in the sport, and we're here in a flash for a short time. But there just aren't as many. That there's certainly some, but a lot of people come and go.
Yeah.
How are you going to do this? What's next for you? You're just going to keep doing this for the next 10, 20 years?
Well,
Or you're going to step up to Top Fuel?
you know, I wonder all the time what's next.
Yeah.
And Casey and I have won some points meets, and I mean we were runner up over the weekend. We come pretty close
Yeah, you
to
did
winning.
great. Car ran great.
And there's days when, like yesterday, when the thing goes out there and smokes the tires, and you go, why on earth did it do that? I'd have bet $100 million it wasn't going to do that.
Right.
And it goes out there and does it.
Yeah.
So there's days when you wonder, why am I doing this? And then, you know, my wife gives me a bad time all the time. She goes, every year in November you're ready to quit. January you're ready to go again.
Yep.
But you know, I have other things that I tinker with. I got my 57 Ford, my retractable hardtop. Wife's got her 57 T-Bird, and
cool.
we do a Monday night every week. On Monday we go to a drive-in.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And have a burger and sit with other people.
That's
and
cool.
They all got their hot rods, and so we do that every Monday, and we do the Coeur d'Alene cruise night, and we do what we can with the classics, but I still enjoy the challenge of making that thing run.
It's very difficult.
And I mean, I'm out there today on Race Pack looking at what we did yesterday, and I'm going, I got to have some stuff to think about on this 4-hour drive to Seattle, and I got to make it better next week, and so I think as long as I'm able to keep going physically and mentally, that and as long as Casey wants to do this, I think we'll keep going. We just learned yesterday that we can be the Jegs guys this year.
Really?
Yeah, Cowie's way ahead of us.
Yeah.
But we are 1 point ahead of Demke, even though he won yesterday.
Yeah.
And we were ahead of Joey. We were ahead of Otten, so we can be the Jegs guys. Well, we got to drag that thing to Dallas.
Right.
Well, Casey goes, man, we got to find a truck driver. I go, are you shitting me? I can drive a truck. I mean, you know, those guys wear me out trying to help me. And oh, Jerry, let me get that. Well, if you want to get that, beat me to it.
Yeah.
You know, don't come and try to take it away from me. I'm already taking care of this.
Right.
And so I said, you know, I put 86,000 miles on Forces Excursion. I think I can still drive a crew cab and a trailer. If you want to go to Dallas, I'll go to Dallas with you. I tell Casey, I'll do whatever you want to do. If you want to quit today, I'll quit today with you. As long as we want to keep going, you want to keep going, I'll keep going with you. So whatever.
That's cool.
And so I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. I'll just keep going as long as Case wants to keep going. I mean, and I don't know. You know, I thought I've been selling stuff on the marketplace, and you know I ain't going to live forever. My dad only made it to 70. My mom made it to 100. 100 plus 70 is 170. Divided by 2 is 85. So 85 is maybe realistic for me, maybe not. Maybe I don't see much more than 85. and that's only 6 years down the road. So
it's crazy.
It'll take me that long to sell all this crap that my wife is going to throw away with the day my chips are cashed in.
Right. I got the same problem. That I said if I get hit by a bus, then you need to call Jerry to sell this crap because he's the only one who can help you. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Well, see, and I've kind of made some arrangements with some people that, if anything happens to me, come take care of this, and take what you want first and sell the rest.
No.
And so, I mean, I got a lot of friends in the world, and
You do.
And it ain't gonna matter to me when I'm gone, but it'll still matter to them.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
So, if I make it 6 more years, that's probably plenty. I mean, if I was to cash in tomorrow, I'd be okay with that because I've managed to do way more than I ever set out to do, and I've never won a world championship, but I've never really wanted to. I mean, I just want to go race and let the chips fall where they fall. And we finished second in the world with Melanie. We finished second in the world with Morgan.
Yeah.
We finished fourth in the world with Ashley. I mean, we've been close to the top all the time. And what does it matter in the great scheme of things? Look at Mitch wins the world championship, and Mitch can't hit his ass with both hands today. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess I just look at things different. I mean, to me, it's more important to be out doing it and having success at it than it is to be the world champ. I mean, that ship sails away so fast.
You always used to tell me that yesterday's hits don't win
today's ball game.
That's
right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a fact. Yesterday's hits don't mean anything today.
No.
So I think it's important that to get up and go out and keep doing what I'm doing, and if we win, we win. If we don't win, we don't win. When 2 cars go to the starting line, one wins and one loses.
Yep.
It's math again.
Every time. Every time.
Yeah. Two soon becomes one.
Yep.
So.
But it was true at Woodburn that there wasn't one car that won out of that left lane
All day?
all day.
Out of both classes. Yep.
Yep.
I was talking to John Partridge at Bullitt today, and I go, John, this is the strangest race you've ever been to. The guy that was low qualifier and the winner of the first race didn't qualify for the second race. The guy that was low qualifier and the winner of the second race didn't qualify for the first race.
Crazy stuff. I said the same thing.
You could not write that.
No, it's nuts.
So, it was just bizarre, and it's just our sport. It's just like that, and I mean, Garlitz has failed to qualify before. Force has failed to qualify. Prudhomme's failed to qualify. I mean, it happens to everybody, and
crazy how this works.
Yeah,
God.
And people win when people win. Selzy and I won Sacramento one year.
I've never run my car there.
We had been to Boise. The fuel pump the little manifold come unscrewed, leaned out. We kicked the rods out. We had a bunch of junk. We go to Sacramento. We kick a rod out. We sand the crank and put it back together. We win the next round, and we got Mike Johnson. And the bicycle guy was driving then.
Yeah, the giant bicycle deal.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And so it's them and us in the final. Well, they kicked the rods out, and they couldn't come back. And so we got enough junk that we're hammering this thing together. And I'll never forget Webster hollers, Jerry, you sent me 2 number 8s now. I go, Webb, just don't mix up the caps, okay? So we get this thing together, and we drag it to the starting line. And we got the starter on it, and I give her a squirt, and I hit the button, and it starts. And Selzy's headed for the stage beams, and I'm running alongside the thing, trying to get the starter off. We're trying to keep that thing running long enough to take the green
light,
and we get the green light, and we win the race.
Oh my gosh!
So it was our day, no matter what. It was our day to win that race. And when it's your day, and when it ain't, it ain't.
It ain't. I had that in 2012 at Woodburn. The guy who won the second race he's talking about is Chris Dimke. He's former world champ. I don't know how many times, but big money behind that car. Anyway, but I won that regional race there because they, on testing, whatever day it was, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever it was testing, they had a problem with a mag wire. It seemed like it was on the six-shooter, but whatever they were using, they had a mag wire that fell off, and the car shuts off. And so instead of fixing it correctly, they just afroed it back together, and it made it till the final round when he was out on me. Crap, he was going to kick me pretty badly. And then all of a sudden, car shuts off. And I motored him to 550 win. It's pathetic. But his car shut off because they didn't fix that mag wire right.
Yep.
And I was so impressed as we towed back, and we think we're kings of the world. We really weren't, but we thought we were. And they were so gracious at losing and how they talked to me because they knew what I was and what I wasn't. And they were so gracious. And it was winner, chicken dinner. I'd never heard that before. But they were really gracious and very kind and deferential. And I was just really stunned. It was a lot of fun. I've always wanted to race with family, and I've always been envious of all the families that are out there. There's so many of them that race together, and from grandpa to son and now to daughter with the Alcohol Funny Car champs.
Oh, Gordon's.
Gordon's, thank you. Family everywhere. And, man, that's so cool. And I wasn't able to do that. It's just not in the cards. But I've got a niece who lives with my mother, and she's been coming to the track since she was just a little kid, and I'd put her in the car and get pictures of her. Well, now she's a 26-year-old kid and full of piss and vinegar, but she comes to the races every time, and she's become part of our fabric and our family, and we've had a rough day, but I'll come out of the trailer, come out of the toter, and I hear Shelly, my niece, laughing her ass off, having a good time with the boys, laughing, and it just warms my heart. Why do I work so damn hard to do all this and to pay for all this crap? And I hear her laugh, and I hear my wife say, God, I love having Shelly out there. She's so much fun. She's so funny. She's so funny. I love that part. The relationship part means a lot to me. It means a lot to me to have all the memories that we've built together for a very, very long time now. This is my 24th year. That seems impossible to run the
Quarter
injector
of a century.
I know.
Yeah.
And Robbie's been with me since before that, since the early days, back in the Pro Mod days, driving down to pick up the car from you. And we stayed in the lounge that didn't have anything but just a bed. We stayed in that damn lounge, and we were in Hanson's parking lot. And I asked him, is it safe to park his crap down here? And the concern wasn't whether it was going to be stolen. It was going to be how much paint was on the side of it when you got there the next day from all the quote Julios and what it was going to look like. So we stayed in it. And it was over 4th of July because I remember all the fireworks happening and crap. And I was just elated that I got to be there to do this. And we were just starting, didn't know anything. And now it's a quarter century later, and we've made a lot of laps, and we've had some good times. We had a lot of really hard times.
Yep. You know, my family is dysfunctional because my mom and dad were Catholic, and so my sister was born in 32. My brother was born in 34. I was born in 45. My other brother was born in 51. And so you know, my brother and my sister were too much older than me. My other brother's too much younger than me. Right. So I was kind of in the middle, all on basically on my own, most near all of my life, and so I don't have the family ties that normal people have.
Yeah.
And so my family is out here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you, it's Casey, it's
a million people that know you and think that they're as close to you as the rest of us. We all want to have that place in your heart. I can't tell you how many people contact me through my social stuff and ask me about how you're doing or say hi to Jerry. I was one of his kids in his class. I get that all the time. I have called you, I don't know how many thousand times over the years, and you almost always take my call. There are times I call at the wrong time, but it's 90% of the time you take my call, and it's always you act like you give a rat's ass and that you're not pissed off that I called. Like, hey, how are you? What's going on? And I always ask you if I caught you at a bad time, because I don't want to do that. Try to be respectful, but you always take my call, and we've talked for hours about how to make this crap work.
You know, in 28 years at Gladstone High School, I had a lot of kids come through there, and
A lot of them still remember you.
yeah, I have one kid. I have a lot of them, but this one kid worked at I got his brother a job with McGleasy at Powerline, and then I got him a job at the machine shop. So in my class, he comes to me one day and he goes, "Darien, I need a piece of metal." And I go, "Well, how much do you need?" And he goes, "Well, I don't know, like about 14 inches. I said, "Spence, we don't have about rulers here. How much do you need?" And he goes, "Okay." So he went and figured out down the road. So years later, I call him up because I knew he worked at a place that did EDM work.
Oh.
And the old Brads had that real tall lash cap on the intake.
Yes, 400 tall.
And it didn't have a hole in it. And
Right.
if there was any oil on that valve, that lash cap didn't want to go down on there.
Right.
So I said, "Spence, I need you to EDM me a little hole right in the center
I'll
of
be
this."
darned.
He goes, "Well, what size hole you want?" I said, "Oh, I don't know, about 40 thousandths. Darien, we don't have no about micrometers here. What size hole do you want in that lash cap?"
That's
Okay,
awesome.
Spence, 40 thousandths. And he
That's
says,
awesome.
"You didn't know this, but I never went to any classes my senior year except yours. He goes, I didn't graduate." He said, "I've avoided you all this time because I didn't graduate, and I knew you wouldn't be happy about that." He says, "But I did get my GED." And he said, I wish I'd have stayed and got more classes, but he goes, it wasn't for me." He goes, "The only class I liked was yours."
Wow.
I said, "Well," you've made something of yourself." And I asked him, I go, what can I give you for doing this for me?" He goes, and he's a big kid. He goes, "Darien, you ain't big enough to force me to take any money from you." He says, "If it wasn't for you getting me to my first job, I wouldn't have my wife, I wouldn't have my kids, I wouldn't have my house, I wouldn't have my car."
Wow. Wow.
Every year at Pomona, he comes out. Every year, regular as clockwork.
Wow.
7 brothers. I had all 7 of them.
Really?
7 Spencers.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that.
And only 2 of them resembled each other and acted the same. The rest of them were all different. All different.
Wow.
And I go, how can that be? I mean, they got the same parents. They lived in the same house. They went to the same schools. They had the same teachers, and they're not the same.
God, that's
One of
amazing.
them goes to jail. One of them's selling drugs. One of them gets killed on a motorcycle. The other 2 are machinists, and I don't know. It just makes you wonder about the world.
Indeed. Yeah, I wonder that myself and the choices that we've made. But we're the cumulative total of all that, and the people we've met along the way. I've tried really hard to be good to people and invest in folks that were good to me. Because you were, once we became friends anyway, after I paid for that darn car, you were better to me many times than I deserved, and helped me more than I deserved. But I couldn't wait to get you in here to be able to talk about some of these stories that I know and that you know. But I wanted the people who follow us to know some of this stuff and to know your heart a little bit, because I've been able to experience it. But now, because of your kindness to spend time with me here, they will see some of what I've seen for a quarter century or more with you, and you've changed my life. Made a huge difference in my life.
I didn't start out to do that, I'm pretty sure.
I am too. I can remember that Bakersfield speech. Take your 10 ground there and plant it until it grows some more. No, I was an acquired taste, apparently.
Yeah, I've said that before when people say I'm sorry. Rub a little sorry on that and see if it'll fix itself.
I've heard that speech a lot too. Every time somebody tears something up. Crap. I was with you in Topeka. That time I was trying to help with Casey, and I don't remember what I was doing, but I took the mag caps off because I inspect and make sure crap's right. I don't know. But I set the caps askew a little bit. Well, somebody turned the motor over and didn't look to see what I'd done, and it broke the rotors or broke the caps or both. And I had to come in and tell you, we need more rotors and mag caps, and I was devastated, and you weren't happy. The moment I got home, I went out in my trailer, and I pulled 2 caps and 2 rotors out of my inventory, and I shipped them to you.
Huh. I don't remember that, but...
Yeah, I do.
Huh.
Yeah, because I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
And I was never going to be that guy.
I learned that lesson. I loaned a guy a blower pulley. I couldn't get it back, couldn't get it back. One day I'm at the swap meeting and it's on his table for sale. So I just picked it off there, went on my way. Had my initials on it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
I put initials on a lot of stuff. So
there's a lot of crap in my shop that still got your initials on it because it used to be yours.
Yeah, you loan stuff out and you want to get back what you loaned out.
Right.
So, yeah. Niver one time needed some front wheels. So I said,
He was a
Niver,
trip.
just go in my trailer and get them. You sure? Well, it's open. Just go get them. You sure? Niver, just go get the wheels. He did a wheel stand and mashed them and
Oh, crap.
So one time he needed a couple fittings. I gave him a couple fittings. And by the time I got home, there was 2 brand new fittings, UPS to my address.
Yep.
And the same with Troxel. I loan Troxel some stuff, and he gets to Denver and he ships it back to me.
Yep.
And you know, you remember those people that
We're good to you.
you know that are appreciative of what you do for them.
Right.
You know, and the people ask me about kids from high school, and I go, I remember 2 kinds of kids. The really good ones and the really bad ones, and all the average ones in the middle, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And the ones that are really good stick out, and the ones that are really bad stick out.
Yes.
And that's the same with people. You remember the people that are good and good to you and do what they say they're going to do, and you remember the bad ones that don't do what they say they're going to do.
Remember when I was buying my car from you, Mitch was buying a car from you too. And we probably can't talk about all of it, but I can remember talking to you on the phone, and it was something effective. Dear God, don't you guys have calendars in Eastern Oregon to know what the date is and when stuff's due?
Yeah, I thought it was coming in a lump, and it came in chunks.
Yeah. Oh, my word.
Yeah, well, you know, this too shall pass.
Yeah,
That's what they say.
This has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate taking time.
Yeah.
I'll send you a link to this once we get her all done and edit it. It'll just be a few days, and take out what we need to take out that we shouldn't have said.
You know, one of the children that went through my program was Jack Clark, and he wanted to drive, but he couldn't drive. He could drive a ball over the bleachers, but he couldn't drive a car, and ended up having McEwen drive his top fuel car, and they won a race. Then he got mixed up with Armstrong, and he's buying 56 stainless Lincolns, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And then he was a hitting coach for the Dodgers for a while.
Wow.
And then he disappeared. But yeah, Jack the Ripper, he played for San Francisco for a long, long time.
Wow. And
then he played for he went right from high school to the farm team, right to the Giants.
Wow, that takes talent.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
And then he you know, and then they funnel him out when they make too much money.
Right.
So he ended up with the Yankees for a year or two, then ended up with St. Louis for a year or two, and then he'd run the course.
Right.
But yeah, Jack the Ripper. He was one of my children.
I'll be darned. Crazy. What years did you teach?
I started in '68, and I quit in '96.
I didn't realize it was that long. Wow, that is quite a lot. No wonder you had a lot. So many
28 years.
Ooh, geez.
I'd have kept teaching, except the principal and we didn't see eye to eye. He comes in and he tells me, you got to get rid of all these junk cars back here. They're an eyesore. I said, really? So when my ninth grade kids want to do their first brake job, I can count on them doing it on your car?
How'd that go over?
Yeah. He didn't like that too good.
Go figure.
And then the next thing you know, I got 40 kids in my class.
Wow.
So I had a friend that came with us on the Bonneville car that was an attorney. So he wrote me this attorney-type letter that said, Mr. Darien will not be responsible for any accidents or injuries that happened in his class due to the overcrowding situation where he's got twice as many kids in their class as he should have.
Wow.
So I turned in that letter. So then what? Next thing I got, 21 kids. Guess what else I got? No budget.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I said, you know what? I ain't doing this anymore. So I called in sick and used up my 142 days of sick leave and never went back.
Oh, my word.
I show him.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow.
And then he retires at the end of that year.
Oh, jeez.
If I'd have known he was going to retire, I'd have stuck it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I had another principal that was really great. He went to the races with me. He went to Bakersfield with me. He went to a lot of races with me. I just call in sick and away I go.
Wow.
So I went to Japan in '89 with this other bonehead, and they docked me. They docked me the time I was gone. So that cut into my retirement.
Oh, right.
So yeah, him and I didn't see eye to eye right from the get-go.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was the kicker when I asked him about doing the brake job on his car. He didn't want nothing to do with that.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so I had a good 28 years of teaching, a lot of good kids, and I had a lot of guys that I knew from the racetrack that had businesses, and they'd call me up and go, "Hey, Darien, you got a good kid that that I can hire. He doesn't need to know anything except how to get here on time. We can teach him what we want him to know, but we can't teach kids how to get here on time."
That's right. That's right.
So
that's cool.
I sent a lot of kids on their first job.
Yeah. Wow.
But they all wanted to make a buck, and I understand that.
Yeah.
And I had good friends. I mean, Skinhead Kirby, he hired every kid I could send him, and he made street rod parts and all kinds of street rod parts, flame cutting and welding and millwork and stuff. And
that's cool.
He had probably half a dozen of my kids working at one time. But
wow.
Yeah, that's all good for them. They're going to work the rest of their life.
Right. Right.
At least 40 more years of it.
Yeah. Well, it's been awesome. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the memories and the stories.
Yeah, we had a good time here.
It's been really cool.
Yeah. I'd much rather be doing this than being out there doing the bottom end right now.
I get it. Oh my gosh! If you guys have any questions for Jerry, please send them my way. I probably know how to get him to answer them if they're semi-reasonable. But I've said for years, Jerry has forgotten more about fuel cars than I will ever know, and I know a fair amount, but he's forgotten more than I will ever know. I have nothing but respect for what he's done and who he is, and I would like someday to be a fraction of the man and the success that you are.
I don't know if all that's very true or not there, but it sounds really good.
Sounds really good. So let's just call her good there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. It's been great.
You've persevered over 24 years of something that ain't easy.
No.
And you got to be pretty special to do that, to hang in there and to continue doing this for as long as we've done it.
Yeah.
So, whether you believe it or not, you're pretty special too.
Oh, well,
also,
thank you.
You've come a long, long ways in 24 years, and not everybody can do that. I mean, look at all the people that come and go.
There's a lot.
The list is a mile long.
Yeah.
When I won Bakersfield in 1981, there was 56 cars there for a 32-car show.
Really?
And 81 was the next to last 32-car show at Bakersfield, but there was 56 dragsters there.
Wow. Wow, I didn't know
that. And there ain't 56 in the country today.
No,
so
correct. No, there's not.
For us to do this long, we either got to have something right or something wrong.
Really wrong.
But we ain't normal, that's for sure.
That's for darn sure.
So
Absolutely.
the first guy I beat at Bakersfield in '81 was John Medlin.
Really?
He never let me forget
I'll
that.
bet. Oh, my word.
He was a fledgling young wannabe hero alcohol dragster driver. And,
Wow.
I crashed his dream first round.
Put him on the trailer.
So he's never forgot that. John and I got to be really good friends all the time he spent at Forces.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was the first one to Eric when he crashed in Bakersfield too.
Oh.
So, and Eric and I got along really good.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was a good kid.
I can hear him every now and then. Hey, mister.
Wow. We were in Boise, and it had to be '02. It just started, don't know, Asthma Hot Rock, and it's altitude there. And I'm calling you for, how do we even this thing run at altitude? They don't run at all. We'd run at 570 or 580, and I don't remember all we did. I really don't. But I remember it worked because we went 548 from a 570, so we qualified last. So in round one, we had, since we were a low qualifier, we had multi-time the Joe Quid-homies, the Rick Santos deal. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. They were the kings of the world then. And so I was just so stunned because I left on him, and I got down the other end. He ran quicker deep, but I ran quick enough that I got there first, but I wasn't sure. So because I wasn't sure, I got out and I congratulated him on winning because, of course, he won. He's Rick Santos, for God's sake. And he was kind of not real nice about it. He's just kind of an ass about it. Well, God darn. So at Boise, at least at that time, the tow rigs went right on the racetrack after you. So I looked out in front, and here comes my dually, packed full of people I don't even know, and the horn is a-blowing, going nuts. I thought, what is wrong with these people? And it took me a while to figure out we'd won. Once I figured out we'd won, I fell to my knees and dropped my helmet because I just couldn't believe it was true. Huh. We won. And so we ended up with I think it was a bye into the final, and I got ass kicked in the final by Mark Hinges at the time.
Uh-huh.
But we went to the final, and we had persevered because I had that 9.5-inch rear end in that thing, and we'd warmed it up about 52 times because we were fighting some problem. Well, in that day, there was no vent in the rear end, none. And it got so hot, it pushed the seal out, and all the gear oil, some crapping out the front of this rear end. I don't have any spare. I have spare nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Not only do I have spare rear end, I don't have spare gear oil. So we had to gather this gear oil up that had gone in this pan and find a way to pour it back in and put it back together. And they're already up there in the staging lanes for round one, and we're trying to get this thing to have the gear oil to go back in it so we can run it at all. So I got suited up and in the car as we towed up about 50 miles an hour to get up there, and they almost didn't wait for us. But we'd done whatever we did to make it run better, and I beat him. So my wife goes to the back of our trailer for all the dirt from the travel, and she writes, we kicked Rick Santos' ass. And I said, honey, we got to live with these people. We're going to see him at the next race, the next one. And so I got her to wipe it out, and we beat Rick Santos. And so they were loaded up and towing out as we went up for round two. And so we all waved at them like, goodbye, guys. See you next time. We're up the starting line running our car again. It is so stupid, but those victories are so few and far between that we really celebrated when we'd worked that hard to get there.
We beat him with Melanie in '99 at Seattle. We went 32.
Oh, wow.
And he come over and he goes, 32, is that all you got? And they'd run, I don't know, 40-something.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, we called him Ricky Mortis.
They did well when they had that small block program.
Yeah.
That car didn't weigh a darn thing.
No.
And
NHRA killed them when they put that minimum weight on it.
Yep, killed it, and they were done.
And then they had, what's his name's money, so they were good to go again.
Yeah.
I saw Ricky at Bakersfield. He's about as wide as he is tall.
Really? Yeah.
They do a lot of work. He does a lot of machine work.
Oh.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff for the Nostalgia Top Fuel guys. And
I'll be darned.
Yeah, he took over where Dad left off.
George?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I'll be darned. Different world.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Gonna call her good?
Yep.
All right, we're out of here.
We're southbound and down.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been wonderful. Thank you guys for following us. Like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. This has been one of the best times of my life to sit here and chat with Jerry Darien. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right. What's wrong with that? That's pretty cool.